everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into the GDQ Hotfix. My name is Smooth Operative, and you are watching Time Capsule. It's the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and speedrun our way through popular or influential games released in a particular year. Tonight's episode features two of my absolute favorite games from the year 1998, that being Spyro the Dragon and later Crash Bandicoot Warped. But before we jump into the speedruns, we just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who donated and volunteered during Summer Games Done Quick. SGQ has wrapped up, but you can check out the playlist of all the runs on the Games Done Quick YouTube channel. And while you're catching up, why not tweet us at Games Done Quick and let us know what your favorite run was. But yeah, I want to introduce to you some amazing people, that being Lumi, Laura, and Dave Man here for Spyro the Dragon. Laura, you want to start us off?
Hello. My name's Lumi Laura. I'm here with Dayaman, as explained. And today I'm going to be running Spyro the Dragon any percent for you all. It is an amazing category of an amazing game, heavily movement-based, got a ton of flashy tricks to go along with it. But, I'm going to keep this intro very short, very sweet, much like this category and much like this game. Are you ready for the countdown? I'm going to count it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, boy. This game.
Woo! Hype in the chat. I'm here too, guys. What's up?
Say hello to Deo, man.
Nice to see you all. GDQ hype. Shouts to anyone who caught my GDQ 120 run. I'm really happy we can have any percent on the on the big screen as well. So yeah, hype.
Yeah. This is definitely a sister category to the 120% category because they both function very similarly. Any percent in this game is very stable, I'd like to say. There aren't many game-breaking sequence breaks. There aren't many major skips. The most we can save is about 2 levels. We can skip about 2 levels. The rest is just we have to play it completely intended, save some minor, movements and bounces around, some pings left and right, all sorts. You'll get to see that. But as we start this run off, you'll notice I'm running around. I'm collecting some gems. I should explain what gets us through this game. So, at the end of every hub world, which there are 5 of them, plus 1 more at the end, there are a balloonist. There's a balloonist guy that needs certain requirements for us to pass by him. So the first one is going to require us to free 10 of these crystal dragons, who we'll be skipping immediately because we don't like hearing them talk. The second one is going to require us to have gotten 1,200 gems. The third one is going to require us to have 5 dragon eggs from little blue thieves running around. We all hate them. 1998's most feared man.
Do hate them.
The fourth balloonist is going to require us to have freed 50 total crystal dragons, and the sixth balloonist, did I skip one? The fifth balloonist is going to require us to have collected 6,000 total gems. So pretty much the entire category is just barreling through these levels as fast as possible, keeping your gems per second as high as possible, taking the most optimal lines around the dragons, finding, places to get those thieves along the way, etc. It's just a ton of fun, and it offers so much creative freedom in how you route it and how you approach the levels, because there's no set path, really. You could do anything you want to get those requirements, and it would be a valid run. So it's such a subjective game. But on that note, I'd actually like to talk a little bit about the development history of this game. This is Time Capsule after all, and this game was so influential for its time. It cannot be understated. The visual fidelity of this game on the PlayStation, of all things, was absolutely groundbreaking. It offered some very rarely before or never before seen features, the most important one being distance-based level of detail rendering. So if you notice the things, or the level far in the distance, you'll notice how we can see it. There's no fog, there's no pop-in or anything. That's because stuff at the distance is actually being rendered at a lower poly count and fades into the higher poly count version as we get close. And this technology, as far as I'm aware, was never actually before seen, or at least rarely before seen before this game, and this game just made everyone else do it. This was the game that started that trend. So we have a lot to thank for that. But on that note, we do have the first major out of bounds coming up here. Can I nail it?
Big wall glide here.
Oh, yeah.
Is Laura going to hit it? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We also do that same glide in 120% as well to get into the back of the toasty head. The portal underneath the dragon mouth there is totally like rendered, and you can just enter it early. So that's like one of very few out of boundses in this game that we're going to actually do a couple of really cool tricks coming up in the next homeworld here, including a really tight wall glide on the level after this flight level coming up. Laura, do you want to talk about the flight levels and how useful they are in this category?
We actually don't do that wall glide in any percent, if you'll remember.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember that. I haven't played this category in like 2 years. I'm literally the worst person to have on commentary right now because I've completely de-learned this category after getting world record.
He swooped into this category for about a month, got world record, and left, basically.
Yeah, literally. No, but one thing that's really cool about Laura picking this category back up is that, as she was mentioning earlier, you can be more creative with the routing in this category because basically you're just, the only thing that's stopping you from doing different routes is whatever gems you're getting. So Laura's found ways to cut gems out of later parts of the game in lieu of getting them earlier, as well as in the next level after this, I believe she's going to be skipping some gems that I would have otherwise grabbed at the start. Are you? What are you going to do?
We rooted those
Don't
back in.
spoil it for me. I want to see it. I want to see this movie play out. But in this level right now, Dry Canyon, she's going to be going for a really difficult wall glide towards the end. So fingers crossed. Everyone prayed in the chat for Laura. I believe it's one of 3 really big tricks in this homeworld.
It is a very, very tight glide. You need to have really good spacing and really good timing. So there's an important piece of movement tech that I should explain in this game that we use absolutely everywhere, save for maybe 1 or 2 rare instances. It's called a charge glide. So you can charge in this game, as you can see I'm doing it now, and you can also glide in this game. But what happens if you have a bit of a moment and you put the 2 together? Hold on, can I get this? Oh, yes, I can.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Let's go, Laura.
That was a charge glide. If you charge just a couple of frames before gliding in the air, Spyro gets a small forward boost and a height boost on top of that. And then chaining that with another charge out at the end of your glide, you can cross all sorts of gaps that you weren't intended to cross. We're going to be doing that to a smaller extent right at the start of this next level, and then immediately coming up after that is another trick that is a bit of a run killer. It's called Mama Proxy. Dea, would you like to explain that?
Okay, so Laura's about to squeeze between the red dress thick mama enemies and the wall, and what that's going to cause after going around the back of this area here. Again, just talking about gems real quick as a aside, you can like cut this part out or do or don't, and there's like so many different routes you can take, but right here is going to be the proxy. Let's see if she can get the squeeze here. Oh, looks good. Beautiful. That's it right there. More claps. That is amazing, Laura. I actually missed that in world records, so this is already, and look at that. Just a beautiful, like kind of roll sort of tech getting up that wall. She basically squeezed between the mama and the wall, which sort of shot her up into the air because Spyro can't be in a place like that where he's not supposed to be. He just kind of squeezed and he just gets shot up. And then she was doing the roll as she would have otherwise gotten slid down that little roof right there. So by holding X, she could actually like sort of buffer jumps up that. It's a kind of a really cool thing where you would otherwise just get sort of, it's meant to kind of send Spyro off the side.
So if we can go back to the 1998 topic right now, I'd like to give a quick shout out to someone I am very acquainted with, a very talented man by the name of Michael John, who worked on this game and designed the very level I am running through right now. He worked with Insomniac Games back when this game was being developed, and he goes on record to say that the speedrun for this game, his word, is very elegant. And you know what? I could not have agreed with anything more when I heard it, because this game is, when the movement goes right, it is like a beautiful dance. It all flows together. You get in such a nice flow state, and it just looks gorgeous. Like I said, this is such a very movement, what's the word? Movement empathetic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movement.
I am very empathetic towards this speedrun. This is actually going really well right now.
It is.
Dr. Shemp, this is one of the first boss levels that Laura's entering. This is actually my favorite boss in the game. He's got really big metallic Gucci sandals. So yeah, shout outs to the drip in Dr. Shemp.
Unfortunately, we don't fight him in this category. Usually boss levels in this game are quite good for gems, but this is one of the 2 instances where it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
So,
So she's going to leave the level right before doing Shemp himself. That's one thing to mention is that you can exit levels at any point. So again, getting back to the point about routing is if you get however many gems you think is good in a level, then she doesn't have to sit here and like go through the whole boss fight, which is really slow considering the gems that she's getting. That's all this routing is based around, is maximizing the amount of gems that you get per second, or GPS as we would call it.
We got the final trick in this homeworld coming up here. Can I land it?
Can we get it, Prey, in the chat?
Oh, that was close.
Oh my god, with the little dip out of the air. Beautiful. Gorgeous. And she also went for a really cool little thief animation skip right there. You see that she really quickly flame charged and jump basically all at once, so that way she would bonk off the thief. You could also jump past him and you would skip an otherwise unskippable animation of receiving that thief's egg.
All right, so now we're coming up to our first flight level in the run. You might be wondering, why am I doing this? There's no gems in here. That's where you're wrong, because completing all of the objectives in this flying level will grant us 300 gems. And considering the fact that runners over the years have managed to really optimize the lines and the path you can take in these flight levels, it makes them really worth it and imperative for the gem count. Because we do, how many do we do? We do 4 flight levels across the span of this run, and that totals up to 1,200 gems. So that is, you can't miss them. Absolutely cannot miss these. And you know what? They're just a bunch of fun to watch as well. There are a couple of flight levels in this game that are notoriously difficult, especially the one in the 4th homeworld, which we're just going to be absolutely destroying when we get to it. So look forward to that.
Oh, here comes a tough little turn right here, right at the end. After this first lighthouse, gotta barely sort of side-swipe the portal here.
Beautiful.
While still flaming that and not hitting the wall. Just gorgeous. Yeah, beautiful movement all around. A lot of this stuff might seem kind of simple, like, hitting a jump or hitting a glide. But when you try some of this, you realize just how, for lack of a better word, clunky approaching some of these things can be. It's really easy to flop or, bonk on different things. And so approaching things in a way where that's consistently not happening is really impressive.
So it is worth noting that I've taken a look at my gem count coming out of Night Flight there. It looks like I'm actually down about 20. I've missed a few over the course of this run. So that is another very important aspect of this category, where you need to be constantly vigilant of your gem count and route in more or less, throughout the course of the run where appropriate. And it just involves so much thought. You can't autopilot this category at all. You've got to be on your toes, and you've got to be doing the mental maths in your head all the time. If you're not good at maths, this category might not be for you.
Get yourself a chat room, that is. That's my advice. I was going to bring up like a spreadsheet so I could actually help co-pilot with you, but then I started looking at it. I was like, there's too many numbers here. She's got it. It'll be fine.
I'm always on top of my gem count.
Yeah, but no, that's actually one thing I did a lot, is so you either are keeping track of how ahead or behind you are of your ideal gem count coming in and out of each level, or in my case, you're asking your chat room after every level, okay, how far ahead or behind are we? People are just typing all sorts of random numbers trying to throw you off, so I recommend actually learning it, unlike what I did.
And especially when so something I'd like to mention is that I have recently taken the liberty of pretty much making a major route change to this category, where we remove a very difficult, very annoying supercharge in the 3rd homeworld, and as a result that has changed the gem count at the start of the category pretty drastically. So relearning that once something new has happened like that, it takes a lot of adjusting and getting used to, so you got to worry about that as well. It's on that note, we are coming up to end of the last level of the 2nd homeworld. Can I make this small little jump here? Oh yeah.
Nice. I love this part of Ice Cavern right here. It's so I love all the cool color palette levels. There's something about them that just it just sings to my nostalgic memories of this game.
Absolutely. It's a very beautiful game.
And actually coming up in the next homeworld, you're going to see a lot more levels that are kind of based around the sort of cycles that enemies can manipulate. All the wizards, if some of you guys remember all those wizards that used to go like, wow, 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 like move the platforms and stuff, that's where things start to become more relevant in terms of cycles. You know, one thing I love about this game is that the difficulty curve is really consistent from homeworld to homeworld. See, these first two homeworlds here were pretty like straightforward, not many enemies getting in Laura's way, but coming here on Magic Crafters and then so on in Beastmakers, the enemies and the sort of movement and text gets harder and harder. And it really catches up at the end when you see this crazy trick that she's going to go for.
Absolutely. So something worth noting is that you'll notice how I've only gotten one dragon egg. Well, I only got one by the time I was done with the second hub world. We're going to be getting the other 4 here because this hub world has a ton of them for some reason. They're all here. All the thieves, they just chill out here for some reason. I guess the vibes are good. So
yeah.
We're going to be taking small detours in this homeworld to clean up the rest of the 3 more dragon eggs that we need. Right, so as we're heading into Alpine Ridge, this level is very cycle-based. You know, as Dale mentioned, we got these enemies, you know, raising platforms, sliding things around. We need to catch one specific good cycle. And
the stairs here.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, very nice. Getting to jump up the 2 stairs. I love the way that looks.
It is an amazing strat that I pioneered myself. Yes, as we are coming up to the next rising and falling wall here, we should have no problem actually just jumping directly over the top of it. Missed some gems there, but that's all right. Swipe that guy from the side.
And again, Laura's taking mental notes of any like gems, especially like the blue or yellow or any of the higher value gems. If she misses a couple of them, she'll actually turn around for some of them at this point, like those blues. It's actually worth it to turn around because that's how tight the gem count gets by the final homeworld. The final balloonist is the one that checks your gem count before you can go to the end.
And there's some fun stuff waiting for us at the end, let me tell you.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for you guys, but there's a pretty tough trick that I actually failed in my last GDQ run. So we'll see if Laura can make up for it.
I can't blame you because it's not been successfully executed at any run ever. It's a bit of a cursed trick, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So we got a really funky looking out of bounds here that is absolutely free. What am I doing?
Laura, where are you going?
What am I doing?
No, not the wall.
Oh,
no. What? Oh my goodness.
I go.
She went through the wall. She did it. She's insane. Pog.
Phasing through the wall there for a cheeky little surprise attack on that thief. Skipping his animation, taking his egg, and running away. Love it. So if I have a look at my gem count here, I'm pretty down. I'm down bad, guys. I'm down about 30 gems. There we
Down
go.
bad on gems.
All right.
So Laura's going to start probably rerouting just a little bit, just going a little bit extra out of the way for more gems to catch up in different spots. So if you see her yeah, go ahead.
Because I love you guys, you know how I mentioned there's a difficult supercharge that I routed out? I'm going to route it back in for you guys. I'm going to do it.
Oh my God.
It's in this level.
She did it for me. She's doing it for me, let's be honest.
I'm doing it for all of you. Don't get a big head.
Oh, and taking the inner route next to that tornado right there, that is not easy. You got to be perfectly up against the wall in the perfect spot in order to not get caught by that tornado. And a beautiful charge jump to catch these platform cycles as well. This is what I would call pretty risky movement, and she's nailing it beautifully.
There we go. All right, one more tight little charge jump to get over onto the 34th dragon. And then we'll be moving on to the supercharge, which I may need to stay a bit quiet for. Dale, would you like?
This is Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about this. So this is the first level where we see a bunch of supercharges, and the one that Laura's talking about is coming up right here, I think. Let's see if we can get some focus for Laura. She has to be at the perfect part of the ramp in order to get just the right amount of speed. She doesn't want too much or too little. She's trying to hit all these spiders and get up over that way, doing a little wall boost on the pillar, coming around. Going back for this green here, so that way she doesn't get messed up by the wall. Coming around this way, now she's got to hit a super tight jump right here.
Oh, very close.
It was close, but it was a good attempt, and the good news about this is that she can just keep continuing through the route. It's not like she's got to go back and do the whole charge or anything, like in 120% or anything, so she can keep going. It's just now she's just missing a couple extra gems again, so it's just routing for later in the run that she can account for.
Considering the extras we got at the start of the run, we are actually on a very good gem count right now. We're just a bit behind time-wise, so will be abused.
And beautiful, going for that early supercharge on the hill to destroy all those firework chests. That was something that wasn't even incorporated into runs until relatively recently. And so really cool little strat to see.
All right. Where's our gem count at now? Okay, we've got a bunch. In fact, I'm about plus 70 in terms of gems, so we can take the next few levels very fast and loose. And that's one of my favorite ways to play the game. Oh, I'm going to show off something kind of fun. It saves time. It doesn't save time. Technically, it's not optimal. It's going to get us a couple extra gems, but I really like it. So just enjoy this one.
I don't even know what she's talking about. I'm on the edge of my seat, just like you guys. Oh, cool. Okay. I love this. Another proxy right there.
There we go.
Love that little strat. Love that. I first saw that from Ali Dest years ago when she did that as a backup in 120. It's so cool, all these proxies. And again, what's happening when she gets bounced up like that, she's just basically getting squeezed between two hitboxes that she's not supposed to be, and so it shoots her up into the air.
So the interesting thing about that one in particular is that those wizard enemies running around, the very small ones, the green ones, they're actually the most jank enemies in this entire game, and they span across a couple of homeworlds. Their hitboxes will move around depending on their animation state, and they'll also change size depending on their animation state, and they center from their model in a really weird position. So really, when it looks like their hitbox should be in the center of their bodies, it actually stems directly from their backs for no reason at all.
Beautiful supercharge right there, Laura. That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
Getting the thief skip right at the very end, too, for that intentional death abuse as well. Just amazing movement. She's actually touching that dragon. You'll notice she'll kind of go onto the side of dragons periodically, because Spyro walks to a certain point after touching every dragon. So she touches like the dragon at the end of this level, for example, she'll have to touch kind of in a weird way so that, or like back around like one way. It's you kind of learn every enemy and every dragon in this game. Because you have to approach each one in its own way so that it doesn't kind of mess you up. Yeah, so she had to touch Lucas right there, kind of jump back. And then with the enemies in this game, you learn to flame charge them as well. It's a technique we haven't talked about yet, but anytime she flames an enemy, normally a gem would pop up into the air and it would not home in, but by precisely managing the distance between her, the enemy, and then charging precisely. This is different, like the spacing and timing between every enemy and every box. She's able to force that gem to home in because she runs over the point where that gem spawns. And right there, she just jumped into the portal from the back, touching the dragon from behind, possibly, maybe, fingers crossed. That one looked like it could have gone either way, but, well, I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? You guys think she got the dragon skip? Let me know.
I was going to do a little explanation about that, but honestly, you said it better than I ever could.
Yeah, that I believe, because normally when that trick, so sometimes you'll see the dragon like flash at, like as if you've touched it, but in that particular case, it was kind of hiding behind the portal there. So I personally believe I'm posting my hypers in the chat. I'm posting a little heart because I believe. To
explain it a little bit more in detail, to explain it in a bit more detail, when Spyro frees or touches the dragon pedestal, it starts the animation where, you know, he walks around, the dragon breaks out, you have a little conversation. But if you manage to free the dragons or touch their pedestal whilst in a level loading state, it will start to free that dragon. It will consider that dragon collected, but the level loading in will interrupt it and completely skip it. That saves about 8 seconds. So
speaking of skips, she also like skips the animation at the end of the flight level as well by bashing into a wall.
Is the dragon gone?
Did we get the dragon?
Oh, Pray? Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did it. Saving a good 6 to 7 seconds, somewhere in between there. Beautiful, beautiful execution on this run so far. This is actually a very nice any percent run.
It is. I'm kind of surprised with myself, really. But
potentially world recordable. Potentially. This is probably ahead of world record right now. I believe. Keep in mind, I cannot count gems to save my life, so
it is a good
I don't even know that.
But world records, probably not.
I don't know, Laura. I think you're gonna have it in the palm of your hands sooner than you think.
Well, we'll see. Oh.
Okay, going for a nice cleanup here. Laura actually kind of changed the sort of cleanup that we do in this little section right here, and I love it. It looks a lot smoother the way she does it.
So this level is very cycle-based. That entire start section is 100% be on the right cycle or you lose like 5 to 10 seconds. So it just requires very clean, very precise movement there. But on that note, we are coming up to the first boss. We actually fight this big guy with a beard. His name is Blowhard, because he's a very smug man. And we're just going to flame him. We're going to make him run away with his tail between his legs. Catch this gem out the air, beautiful. And we're about to deal the final blow on him, and you'll see... Oh boy, that's a lot of gems.
Yeah, the very juicy gems. As we know, the yellow and purples are the most expensive gems in the game. So blue and above, blue, yellow, purple, those are the ones that we are really wanting. And we will turn around, probably around this point, we'll start turning around if we miss any of those. I see a message in the chat that I'm trying so hard to jinx this. I believe in Laura. I really think that she can do it. I'm honestly scared that she's going to take my world record sometime in the near future. And that is something that I have not seen any other player do in a while. So, yeah, I'm hyping for Laura here.
Theoretically, I could have had it if I had landed a certain trick, like 3 PBs ago. I would have been second. So, you better be alert.
I'm saying, let's aim for the stars. I'm saying you could get the world record, Laura. I believe. Maybe if not right now, then soon.
Like, not right now.
It's fine. It's fine. It's just a matter of time. This is why I always tell everyone. It's like speedrunning, especially at like a really high like world record level. It's not a matter of talent. It's hardly a matter of skill. It's a matter of time. And is it any coincidence that the people who are at the very top of the leaderboard of any game are the same people that put in the most time? It's really, and Laura's racking up the hours. She's streaming every day. If you guys aren't following her, I'll link her stream in the chat. You guys got to see her runs because she's a freaking legend.
Thank you, Deo. I appreciate that. So, if you guys will remember earlier, I mentioned that one flying level in particular is incredibly difficult and that we're going to be destroying it. This is the one. Welcome to Wild Flight. To take you guys back to about 2000 and... I want to say, no, it was about 2009 when I was first casually beating this game for the first time as just a little child, just a little girl. This level was the one level standing in my way between me and the full 120% completion of it. I got stuck on this level for hours trying to get the all-in-one, and you know what? It is so vindicating to me today to just absolutely breeze through this, because we're very nearly almost done already.
Yeah, it's this area that she's in right now that's like, it's so confusing, especially as a casual player. It's like you see all these planes cascading around in every direction, and so there will always be like one plane that you miss, especially playing this game casually. That's true for all the flight levels, actually. It's like you'll get everything except one thing, and that'll happen over and over and over, so... Yeah, that's why speedrunning this game's awesome, because you just learn where everything is, and it's like, oh, okay, I actually, like, I'm saving childhood me from all the pain, making up for it.
Absolutely. You know, it's a very important thing in speedrunning, not to get too philosophical here, to always remember where you came from, whether or not the game you're running is something you played a lot as a child, or if you're just tracing your mind back to when you started as a runner. It's so important to always remember where you came from, because that perspective is, a bit of a guiding light that's going to keep you going through a long speedrun career, especially when, trying to get a really good time in whatever you run. It's a marathon, not a sprint, So
that is so true.
Just a bit of philosophy for you.
No, and you know what? I still hold on to a lot of the same feelings that I remember first feeling when I played this game. Some of my most formative memories of just kind of romping around in Artisans as a little kid, just laughing at all the enemies that would run away from me and stuff. Those are memories that you take with you. Your first few video games that you play, those are memories that you take with you through your entire life, and I think it's a really special thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even after all these years speedrunning, you don't really get tired of it when you hold on to memories like that.
I want that. I really could.
So real quick, we have a couple questions in the chat that I just wanted to answer real quick. The first one we had was about why do we play on PS2 when this is a PS1 game? And actually, a cool thing about many PS1 speedruns is that they tend to be faster on PS2 or alternate consoles of that era, because the fast disk speed option in the PS2 home screen actually makes the PS1 disc physically spin faster, and thus it reduces loading times. It's not that the game physically runs faster, but it's that the loads are a lot better. So that's why we do that. In fact, there's a lot of kind of hot research and debate about what the best PS2 model is. There's at least a dozen different types of PS2s you can have. In Spyro 2 and 3, you can get this crazy PS2 called the PS TV, and that's its own whole can of worms. And well, anyways, it's, as you guys could tell, it's like a whole conversation to be had about optimal platforms. But yeah, that's why we run on PS2 PS2 is for fast disc speed. By the way, to anyone who has a PS2 at home, try playing your PS1 games on fast disc speed. You'll be surprised at how much better they run. Another thing I wanted to mention was Spike Vegeta pointed out in the chat earlier that the two main categories of this game are 120% and any percent, which Laura is playing. By the way, just to get you guys a little excited here, we're coming up on one of the toughest sections of this game. This island has some of the most, probably the most enemies in one space. Take a look at this part. Can Laura go damageless?
No.
Oh, it was close though. Really good enemy cycles there actually. So very nice. She was able to clean it up beautifully and still keep sparks. Which honestly, if we're just keeping sparks through that part, we're happy. But yeah, to get back to what Spike was saying, he was saying that 120% is really a showing of focus on movement, and any percent is more of a focus on the more cerebral part of speedrunning, like keeping track of your gem count and knowing like how to adjust your route on the fly. And those are two really, really big skills that each category sort of highlights. And yeah, I thought that was really cool, especially coming from Spike, where I will never forget Spike's any percent speedrun of this game. I remember watching that, and there's like these little, in Beastmakers, this homeworld that she's in, there's like these little green like goop areas. They look like little pools. And Spike did the thing on his playthrough that every kid who played this game does. It's like, oh, I'm gonna jump in the pool of like Mountain Dew, and then just boom, like death abuse, like ah. And I see Spike's face just go like ah. So yeah, that's my little aside about Spike's legendary status in this game.
Ooh, Mr. Yellow.
How much time does that save? Yeah, so, and again, you can see Laura's like really trying to keep track of the gems here. This is where we start to see more juicy gems coming up here. Okay, so did we skip the thief here?
No, we did not, but check this out.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm going to give it one more try just because it's so cool.
Yeah, just go for it. This is all you.
Here we go.
Oh, yes, let's go. Laura actually invented that trick called the Laura launch. We love it. So awesome, so awesome. And it does save only like a second, but there's a couple of different like little funky tricks you can do there, and one of them is the Laura. The Laura launch is the coolest, if you ask me.
Well,
But, yeah.
I appreciate that. There is another trick we can do there where we see those poles down there blocking us from just jumping straight across. One of them in particular is spaced really weirdly to the point where we can just charge between it, and the game gives us a very quick, small squeeze that is enough speed for us to clip through it. Technically, it's not empty. There is a wall there, but it is thin enough to the point where a little bit of extra speed just clips us straight through it, and we can jump straight across that island.
I've just been informed by the chat that it is now called Laura Leap.
It is called Laura Leap.
You've heard it here on the GDQ stream, the official renaming of the Laura Leap. And yeah, I'm seeing a few more like console-related questions, like why not play PS1 games on a PS3, for example? And the reason is that on PS3 and above, they actually use like a first-party emulator. Hold on, focus time. Can she get the bump right here? Big jump.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and the double.
No double.
You'll know she hit. Oh, that wasn't a double, but she hit almost all of the fan chests there, which, you know, that obviously saves time compared to having to flame. That was really good. Really good treetops overall. Really awesome.
Thank you.
But yeah, PS3 is basically like playing on emulator, essentially, which is slower than PS2, basically.
Right, I have got some very cool stuff coming up in this left. Okay, so before we go in...
Sparksless.
Nuh-uh, not for,
okay, not smart. For me. That was so smart. I would have forgotten to do that. See, that's like the on-the-fly sort of recovery that makes Laura a freaking legend, guys. Like, just knowing to grab stuff like that just real quick on a snap decision.
I'm going to do a trick here that is never before seen, even for you, Dea. So we're going to get through this wall. Ooh, okay, it didn't work.
So close,
interesting.
So close. She was going for an out of bounds right there.
That's fine. You know about that one. But what you don't know is about something I'm about to do after.
Ooh,
check this
excited.
out. Because I'm on such a good gem count.
I did not know about that. Are you serious?
You can just go straight back through.
What? Who found that? Man, what?
Technically, it was my friend Altro50, who's a very talented person working on a lot of decompilation stuff for this game. He sent me a bit of a Discord message jokingly saying, oh, Spyro 1 is such a stable game. And then he does that out of bounds, and I was like, wait a minute, I can use this. So it's always good as a speedrunner to have friends on the inside, you know, doing all the decompilation, you know, nerdy stuff. But
yeah, Laura's like really well tuned into the various parts of the Spyro fandom, which is very much still alive online today to to my happy, making my heart happy seeing all this. Of course, on my end, I'm just like following the speedrunning Discord and like my stream, and that's it. But Laura's like on the Spyro Reddit and like talking to all the PlayStation like modding community, which is like starting to become a little bit bigger of a scene. It's really cool to see Laura kind of be the conduit between all these different communities related to Spyro and PlayStation's stuff in general.
I'd like to make it a point for any Spyro fans who might be in chat. I can't say much, but some exciting stuff is coming. Stuff that has been, we've wanted for a while. So stay tuned for that. The Spyro fans.
I do not even know what she's talking about. I would love to be like, oh yeah, Laura, get ready. It's going to be awesome. But I literally have no idea. I am literally just the casual viewer, just like you guys here. So.
Oh, need that.
Gotta get that. Yeah, totally worth like the second or two to wait for that, by the way. 10 gems.
All right, let's have a look at our gem count. We should be at 5150. 5184, so we're still over gemmed.
Love that. Love that. Okay, we're gonna come around for the key right here, and this is her movement here is going to affect the platform cycles. If she's quick, then she'll make it. It should be easy here. Yeah, she got it. Nice. Oh, and she's gonna catch this guy as well. Very nice. Beautiful recovery there. Now, see, these key chests are so annoying, especially coming around them from behind. You have to kind of automatically have the key pop up when you approach it. So sometimes the game is just like, no, we're not going to like show you the animation here.
It's really annoying.
But yeah, that's the end of Beastmakers. We're coming up on the last two homeworlds here, Dreamweavers. And this is where Laura's going to really have a chance, now that she's over gemmed, to kind of take a little bit more risky movement, especially here in the homeworld. So let's see a little trick that she does, a little damage abuse coming up on some enemies here. A beautiful flame charge right there. Those big enemies, you see how close she has to kind of flame and then charge right next to him. Big enemies.
We love
like
big
that
enemies.
one dragon says.
There we go. Completely skipping over those two. And we got another little flop coming up here that we call the floor flop.
Yeah.
Can I land it? No.
Good attempt. You can see that she was sort of trying to bounce off that guy. Oh, and he's giving you the fast.
Oh, no.
He's giving you the runaround.
All right, we made it just in time.
That guy is... Those like little jester guys are actually sort of, I don't know if bugged is the right word, but sometimes they have like glitchy movement where they run like even faster than normal. So it's like you're racing like around the whole like circle. So if you ever had trouble with those guys, you're not alone. So do we.
They will instant transmission around, like Dragon Ball style, just pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, they go full Super Saiyan for a second, like right when you're on pace every time.
All right.
But yeah, last flight level of the run right here, Icy Flight. Again, some kind of tight turns she has to do here in order to sort of catch all of these, like especially right here, coming down and getting that box.
Beautiful.
Very nice. And depending on how fast she flies here, it's going to affect the train cycles. So you can really see how cycles, especially at a high level in this game, how cycles really become important. Even just little minutia speed can make like a train be a little bit more further ahead and save you a second and save and lose time by extension of that.
All right, we've got one little strat coming up at the end of this where we're going to see if we can collide with a bridge to give us an animation skip, save us a little bit of extra time instead of having to do a riskier strat where we crash into the floor. Can we land it?
Oh, she's going to go for it. She got it. Wow, nice. I'm blown away you hit that.
That was very tight.
Barely worked. That was awesome. But yeah, you can see Spyro was starting like he was flying up into the air. That is an unskippable animation unless you kind of crash into a surface like that bridge there.
All right, the final.
And here we go on the last level.
The final collection level. We're going to wrap up the 6,000 gems in this level. It looks like we only need about 320. That is absolutely amazing. We're going to skip a few here. Just because we can.
Yeah, if you're under gemmed, you'd go to the right in that section right there and collect other gems, as well as, grabbing more in this area as well. I think in my record I had to collect a few extras here. Or maybe, I don't remember. Oh, she's going for a really tough jump right here. Normally you would flame the two jesters to get the second sort of platform, but she hits the beautiful, we call that single cake strategy. Very nice. That jump is harder than it looks. Laura makes it look so easy. I mean, right, guys? She's what a legend. I'm watching this, I'm like, dude, my world record's in jeopardy right now. There's no way. There's no way.
Oh, well, give it some time.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is. Give it some time, and then I will tell all. But yeah, this is the last boss right here, Jock, right here.
I fear that I may actually be slightly under-gemmed. I think I skipped a few too many, but that's okay. We do have some gems right outside the level that we can use to back that up if we're just short by a couple. Oh, give me that. Sparks, you lazy.
You can really see how Sparks takes his time, especially with a big group of gems like that. It makes it so that you cannot play this game too quickly. You have to go at the speed at which Sparks can collect, and at times that varies, and you really have to wait in spots like that.
So, something interesting coming up here. You want to talk about it?
Yes, so Laura's going to be going for a trick that skips 2 levels and goes straight to the final boss, Nasty Nork. This trick has been sort of found and advented and worked out by different players over the years, but she's going to be going for a trick where she gets a proxy from the rat right here. But we got to trust that this rat's going to move in the right spot. This looks promising. Let's see what he does for us.
Nope.
Okay, he went the wrong way.
We can give
this is basically RNG, this rat's movement. You can influence it a little bit, but yeah. So now she's going to take a death abuse. How many more attempts of this are you thinking you're going to try? You're on good time right now.
Yeah,
so.
I don't actually have the timer up right now, so...
Can we get a time check? I haven't actually had my timer up either. Can we get a time check from one of the people?
Ooh. Sorry, what was that?
38:40, you said?
That's quite good. Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes to attempt this. So because we've got so much time, I'm actually going to attempt something else. This trick here is called Coveless. This is the single most difficult trick in the entire game. Can I land it? Probably not. We're going to charge up around the back of this dragon head, get a proxy, and wall glide in.
She has to let go square perfectly in order to kind of hit like a seam like that.
Ooh, okay.
Oh my God, beautiful attempt. That was like, that was so close. And again, these tricks, they have to be done perfectly in order to skip the 2 levels. So it really creates this situation in any percent where you're on you get all these great runs up to Nasty's world, and they all sort of kind of fall to the wayside one after the other because the rat didn't work with you, or you barely didn't get high enough with the proxy, or whatever it may be. So it adds a real element of sort of luck and perseverance to these runs.
Death abusing to respawn these rats, we've actually gotten ourselves a game over, which thankfully doesn't cost too much time. Like, we're right back at it.
Yeah, we're right here in the same spot. A game over takes you back to the home world, which is where we're at.
One more game over.
Yeah. Oh, God! Oh, you can see how close she was there. What she wants is to hit that rat with her tail, kind of like what you saw there, but it was unfortunately she got a bonk right there, so she couldn't get the proxy because of that. That was a beautiful attempt. Yeah, there's some of these you can really feel it's like you're on the edge of your seat watching some of these like charges into the rat. They're so close.
All right, I trust this one. This is it. This is the one.
Gotta believe in the rat.
Ooh, okay.
Oh my God.
So you can see the logic in action there. You can see how that rat's dying hitbox collided with me. Give me just a tiny little proxy up.
Oh my God. Yeah, you have, I think, about like a minute left here of attempts.
I didn't trust that one. I don't trust you. I'm going to see if I can line him up for a different execution of this trick called Back Rat. See if it's possible. Maybe. No. All right, I'm going to make this the last possible attempt, like we said.
Last one, guys. Rally together in the chat. Praise for Laura. Can she get the proxy? By the way, I missed this in my GDQ run as well, so it's a very tight trick, and it's... Oh my God.
No dice.
Yeah, so... Hey, but GG's though. Those were some really good attempts right there. High-level attempts. Yeah. And so now Laura's going to go ahead and do at least this first level right here, North Cove, where you guys are so lucky. You guys get to see some more speed tech. She went for that. Wow.
I always go for that.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Did you not know you could do that?
I didn't even know about that flop. That was insane. And then she's going to get this little trick right here to fly over basically the entire level. And she has to do such a precise glide right there to get over the mountain because you're crossing over loading zones, which can actually drop your glide input. So all of that movement was actually insanely precise, even just including gliding to the portal.
All right, so we're just going to free this dragon so that dragon head on the left, the orange one, is going to open up for us. And we're going to be using the tooth here for a little strat I like to call tooth roll. Oh, very close. So, I should explain, we haven't actually explained this yet. The purple dragon head there actually houses the final boss. And it has no collision and no top.
Try. Let's go, Laura. Amazing Twilight Harbor skip, or tooth roll as we call it. You know, that trick used to be much more difficult. Laura spent a lot of time labbing out that roll right there, which we didn't used to do. We used to just do a normal full hop, basically. That was just very slightly enough to make it. But Laura found a really cool setup with that roll. So you can really see how Laura has done a lot for this category, you know, just in the what, you've been speedrunning for like a year, 2 years. It's really amazing.
I'm not going to take credit for tooth roll. That is actually a combination effort of Saboom, who initially found the concept for that trick in 2014 but couldn't successfully execute it, And then it took another runner by the name of Jazus, or JX as we like to call him. He finally found a successful way to implement it in a runs, and I took those learnings and then just made it slightly more consistent. It's a collaborative effort, speedrunning. But on that,
Alright, getting ready for time soon.
Oh
my god, hold on.
no.
We have exactly this much time, so we're perfectly on estimate right now. But yeah, at the end of this level, at the end of that lava room is going to be time. But it's cool. You guys get to see those beautiful quick thieves and all of that. By the way, if you think it's silly to have an accidental death abuse in that room there, believe me when I say, when you are on a good pace and you get into Nasty Nork after hitting all the precise tricks, jumping over that lava is it's like running the Olympics or something. It's the most insane feeling, and it's very easy to mess that up. Believe it or not, it might look simple, but
an out-of-body experience if you're doing really tight charge jumps across that lava while you're on pace. It is incredible.
It happens to all of us. Anyone who's been speedrunning this game a number of any amount of time has definitely lost the run in this room here. And it's so fun. There's a few spots in this room that can really get you. You can bonk there, coming up here. She's doing all these sick charge jumps. All right, and getting ready for time.
3, 2, 1, time.
Time. Let's go, Laura.
Spyro the Dragon, 80%. Oh, I love this category. I love it so much.
GG.
Thank you very much.
That was such a high octane run. It was so impressive to watch. Very stylish.
Thank you.
Gosh. Do you have any shout outs or advice for future Spyro runners?
Some advice for future Spyro runners. I'm just going to say this. Follow your heart. I mean, it's so corny, but seriously, follow your heart. I never thought I'd be in this position, top 5, pushing these incredible times, If you're passionate about something and if you've got the fire in your heart for it, follow it, because it's going to lead you down such an amazing path. That's all, That's all you need.
Aww. Well, thank you both so much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure having both of you on.
Thanks so much for having us.
I'll say it, of course, I'll say it again in chat. If you did enjoy this awesome run of Spyro the Dragon, please make sure you follow Lemmy Laura here on Twitch, as well as our commentator, that is Dayoman. But before we break, I just want to say, make sure you check out Games Done Quick on Instagram if you want to get bite-sized clips from all of our Hotfix shows and a behind-the-scenes look at what happens during our events. And also from now until July 15th, all of GDQ's revenue from subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits tiered after taxes will be donated by GDQ to Doctors Without Borders. So we're going to keep that train going a little bit longer. And we are excited to announce that Frame Fatales will be having its next all-women speedrunning event, Flame Fatales, in late August. So you can type !FF here in the Twitch chat, or go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information. Again, if you enjoyed the run, please follow Lumi Laura and Dayoman. We had a blast. We'll be back with Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Awesome stuff.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
We love you. Cute chat forever. Hype up for Crash 3.
Woo.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Time Capsule here on the Games Done Quick Hotfix. I'm your host, Smooth Operative. Thanks for sticking around if you did, and if you just got here, welcome. We are all set up for Crash Bandicoot Warped, so allow me to introduce to you our runner, Nitrovsky, as well as our returning guest for commentary. That would be Rico KSB. Take it away, both of you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nitrovsky. I will be running Crash 3 105% for you guys.
And hello, my name is Rico KSB, or just Rico for short. I was actually on Hotfix about a year and a half ago for the 1997 show doing Crash 2.
It was awesome.
Since then, this has kind of shifted to become my main category of the original Crash trilogy, so I'm really happy to commentate this. I love this run.
Oh yeah.
Which is a bit of character development for me. I used to hate this run, and then something just clicked one day, and now it's like my favorite one.
You started jamming, and you were like, yes.
Definitely.
As for the game, we can let the game introduce itself. A fun thing about Naughty Dog in that era is they were really big on voice acting during the intro scenes.
Sony Computer Entertainment America presents a Universal Interactive Studios production. A game created and developed by Naughty Dog.
And since we have time, I'm actually going to go through the usual pre-run setup that we go for. One thing to mention in this game, cycles are global, but they are reset with death. That was definitely fast enough loads. So cycles are global and they're reset with death, which means, but they're not reset when you start a new game. So the best way to start a run for us is to reset the cycles first, and then we'll know exactly what cycles we're going to get in the first level.
Yeah, and it's very useful for this first level we do because it is a very cycle-heavy level.
And with that, I guess I can get ready for a countdown.
Absolutely. Whenever you're ready.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you. All right, this game has sound effects, as you can hear. That's all you'll hear of them.
Yeah, so the first thing that throws off a lot of people when they tune into a Crash 3 run for the first time is, why are the sound effects turned off? Did something go wrong with the game? Turning the sound effects off is actually faster, because for whatever reason, if you turn the sound effects off, all of the cutscenes that play between the levels, you know, like you pop in and then the villains come and talk trash to you, all of that is skipped automatically if the SFX are set to 0. And over the entire course of a run, it actually saves over a minute. So it's quite significant.
I'm going to miss the cycle here. It's fine. Second best cycle only loses like 4 seconds. And it actually means I'm going to be able to get that checkpoint here for safety, which I'm definitely fine with.
Yeah. Another thing of note for Crash 3, the game is pretty famous or infamous, depending on your point of view, for having a much higher count of vehicle-based levels compared to Crash 1 and 2. About 50% of the game is platforming and 50% is vehicles. So we'll definitely be seeing a lot of levels like Under Pressure here.
And that's the first level down already. And with that, we're going to Orient Express with the first visible instance of zigzagging with Coco, mind you, but the same thing applies with Crash. If you are midair and zigzag left and right, you will actually have more speed overall. And I missed that box. Of course I did.
Yeah, so...
I really did.
Yeah, I think a Death Abuse here is fair. Orient Express is a pretty annoying level, which is part of why it's done so early. Is just like missing a crate like that, you can't go back for it. So your options are either to Death Abuse and go for it again, which is the safer but slower option. The other option is to do what's called
go for it in the relic.
Yeah, it's what we call a one cycle, which is basically just getting the gem and the relic at the same time. I did see someone in chat ask, if this is 105%, why didn't he get the gem in Under Pressure? That is a level that gets one cycled, so when Nitroff goes back to it for the time trial, he will be getting the gem at the same time. And it is something you can do in Orient Express, but again, this level is just really annoying. So in like a marathon setting, I think it's completely understandable to just go for the Death Abuse instead. It will likely lose less time in the long run.
Oh my god, that was the most scuffed cuddle skip I've ever done. I didn't even get... Okay,
Oh my
thank
god,
you.
jeez.
Thank you, I didn't get into the orb.
So Nitrox tried to do a trick there called Cuddle Skip, where if you get enough airtime at the end, Coco and Pearl will fly so far that they actually touch the portal, and if that happens, you just leave automatically. Skips the adorable Cuddles cutscene, but saves like 6 seconds. Ideally, you want to grab the gem when you're doing it, but Nitrox's positioning was just a little off, and that would have been very bad if he had actually successfully gotten Cuddle Skip.
Yeah, because then I wouldn't have had the gem. I would have had to go for the boxes during the time trial. And the reason I death abused earlier was because I just don't trust myself to do it all at once in a marathon setting.
Yeah, Orient Express's time trial, if you go for every box, is actually pretty tight. So you can't even like safely slow down too much to do it. And even then, sometimes Orient Express just doesn't really want to cooperate. something else of note is that you'll see that Nitroff is jumping a lot. If I'm not mistaken, every time you jump, it actually saves a single frame. So when you're going for every box, you kind of just throw it in where you can. But in a time trial, or if you're doing any percent no item glitch, you kind of just do it as much as you can.
There are actually ways to like stack more jumps than you saw me do here, but they're also risky. They require like kind of going out of bound and curving back into the wall on the side above the death plane.
Yeah, it's definitely
and then
something
spamming
you
jumps.
definitely only really see it at like the highest levels. Actually, I'm not even
I
sure.
do it sometimes in
yeah.
standard runs. Just
Yeah.
like specifically in runs where like I missed a crate in the crystal visit, I'm just going to, you know, kind of try to throw the run away with those. And if I don't, well,
Yeah.
good news. I can just try and go for the time trial one cycle thing.
Yeah, so Nitro fell a little short of Cuddle Skip there again. Cuddle Skip and Orient Express is actually kind of tight. There is another Purr level, Midnight Run in Warp 2, where Cuddle Skip is much easier, so we will likely see it later in the run. But yeah, this is the first platforming level, Toad Village. Did you want to go over the movement, Nitroff, or did you want me to?
First of all, yeah, this is the first platforming level, actually. We're already 5 minutes in, and this is the first you see of crash platforming. So what you see me doing here looks like standard slide jumps, but it's actually what we call neutral slide jumps. If you release any direction on the D-pad, as you do a slide jump, you're actually going to maintain the speed of the slide into the jump, and then get the standard decay rate in the air. So that's faster than normally. On top of that, what you'll see me doing is zigzag every one of my slides. So I've got the input display right here, so you'll be able to see it shortly. But every time I do a slide, I'm going to be doing a left-right on my D-pad. That basically curls the slide, which makes it gain some speed, and then curls it back, which, you know, keeps it straight. And overall, that like significantly increases the speed. Oh, hello. That significantly increases the speed of every single one of my NSJs.
Yeah, zigzagging your NSJ it's something that seems so minor. And to a new runner, I don't think I would recommend it starting out immediately, because it is a pretty advanced movement tech. I actually only just started doing it like in the past few months. But it is crazy how much time it saves in the long run. It just stacks up over the course of an entire run. Yeah, so going from Toad Village, this is Boneyard. This is basically Crash 3's equivalent of a boulder chase level, except you're being chased by a Triceratops. There was another quirk to the neutral slide jump movement that we didn't touch on in Toad Village. I'll explain it when we get to the mask that Nitroff is going to come up to. Yeah, so notice how much faster Nitroff is moving when he has the invincibility. If you're familiar with Crash 2, which you might be if you saw the Crash 2 run at SGDQ this past week, you might know that in that game, invincibility is really slow and you avoid it as much as possible. Crash 3 is the exact opposite. For some reason in this game, when you get a triple mask, your slide speed is increased tremendously. So the name of the game in Crash 3 is to get as many triple masks as you can. And a lot of the routing is based around getting it wherever you can, and if you lose a mask, altering your route to get a backup mask at some point.
I actually got so much height on that jump, I made it on top of the metal boxes, but I didn't land right away, so I still ground down. Oh.
Yeah, a thing that's really cool about 105% is that this route is actually extremely flexible. Like, in terms of skill level, Nitroff and I are pretty similar. He's a couple minutes ahead of me. But, like, our routes are actually pretty dramatically different. You can really just tackle this game however you want, as long as you're hitting all the triple masks that you need to. Some top runners, honestly, only even use, like, 2 or 3 splits for the entire run, which is, like, 2 hours long. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of creativity that can be done with this route. And if something goes wrong, it's very easy to improvise.
All right, so this is the 5th level in which I'm going to get a crystal. So after this, I'm going to have to fight Tiny. I'm going to actually do everyone a favor in Tiny, and I'm going to wait like a second before skipping the cutscene so we get the music. Because otherwise, you don't get any music in Tiny. And since we don't have sound effects, it's total silence.
I like to trick viewers into believing that there's something wrong with the game's audio when I'm in Tiny. I'll just stay dead silent the entire time, and people will be like, "Oh, what happened to the stream's audio?" And I just won't say anything. But yeah,
We've all done it.
Yeah, Tiny's music is a bop though, so I kind of wish that we didn't skip it. It's a really good song. Yeah, I feel like there's not too much to say about these jet ski levels.
One thing worth mentioning is it's technically possible to do a one cycle in this. So right now, if I wanted to, I could like skip every single box and then get every single box in the time trial. But that's extremely tight. And as soon as you miss one box in the time trial when doing that, which is very easy, like the game just sometimes doesn't give you enough height per jumps, which is like out of your control almost. Like those were very close from missing. So basically every runner decides that they're going to do the crystal visit with the boxes just for safety. It doesn't save that much time to do the one cycle anyway.
Yeah, one cycle is very much not worth it in this level. I guess the other thing to note with the jet ski is that if you hold diagonal down left and right, you get sharper turns, which is very useful in these levels. Other than that, it's really just holding X for the majority of them, and there's 4 of them in the entire run, so we will be seeing the jet ski a lot.
All right, so wait a second, and there you go.
Yes.
Music. Imagine this in total silence. Oh, that's what you'll get to see if you follow me and watch me do runs live on twitch.tv/Nitrovsky.
I would recommend it. It's pretty cool.
So, simple boss fight. There's actually a cheese spot in the top left corner. If you just stand there doing nothing, the lions won't hit you. Which, fun fact, NST actually added into their game and added an Easter egg on top. If you actually walk in the top left corner, the audience is going to throw cheese at you. I think that's a cute thing.
Yeah, Vicarious Visions definitely.
Funny, actually.
Yeah, for the remake, they definitely added a lot of little cute nods to some of the tech we did. They were actually even kind enough to keep something that we call a glitch high jump in, where if you spin during a slide jump, you get more height.
Okay, so under pressure. On my first visit, as someone noted, I didn't get the boxes earlier, so now I'm going to get the boxes during the time trial, which is a little tight, but it should be fairly easy for me to do at this point.
Yeah, under pressure is one cycle is one of those things where it kind of.
Oh my god, look at this cycle.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, under pressure is one cycle. You kind of just become able to do it as you get better at movement underwater. And underwater movement in this game is a little weird. If you're stuck on anything and you try to spin, and this includes crates, Crash just goes nowhere. So really, you just want to try and spin whenever you're not touching anything. Yeah, under pressure one cycle. This is one of those one cycles that while it's not hard, it's annoying enough that I find that most runners start the run with it before they go to Orient Express, and Nitros actually a bit of an outlier in doing it at the end of Warp 1. But this cycle is fantastic. So
yeah, this is, as long as I don't lose the submarine vehicle here, we're good, because we do need to keep the submarine vehicle to destroy the corals.
And the reason this one cycle saves time, aside from the fact that the global cycle that Nitros set up at the beginning of the run, it makes the any percent pass of under pressure very, very clean. So being able to do that is a huge time save. On top of that, the crystal is placed very awkwardly in this level. It's like right after the 2 puffer fish, and it's above that coral with like the 5 crates underneath. So if you were to get the crystal and gem at the same time, you would have to grab the crystal, go down, break the crates, go back up, and it's a bunch of vertical movement that's not necessary, and you just save the time of doing that by just doing the one cycle. So it's like minor time save, but it's there.
One cycle, usually we refer to one cycle as getting a collectible on top of getting the relic. So in this case, that was getting the box gem collectible as I was getting the time trial relic. Further, there's going to be, a 1 cycle and hang 'em high, which is going to be getting the yellow gem as I'm getting the relic, and there's going to be for a lot more than that. I admit it's not a perfect name for it. I'm personally in the team like anything but 1 cycle, but like it's such an established term nowadays that I really can't fight it.
Yeah, it's one of those. This is one of those terms that just at this point is not going to be changed. But yeah, I feel like what makes Crash 3 105 such an interesting run is just how many 1 cycles there are. Is just that like any level that's like a vehicle level or like any level that has like a death route or a gem route, there's a potential to just get the gem and relic at the same time. And I think that makes the routing of this game so cool, because even though you visit most of the levels in the game twice, the visits don't really feel all that similar. Some of them just feel dramatically different, and so it's really not as repetitive as a category as it seems to be at face value.
And then there's Tell No Tales.
Yeah, 6 minutes of fun.
So as you saw, I didn't go for every single time crate. Obviously, the goal for 105 is to get all gold relics. I guess we can explain why it goes all the way to 105 and not 100%, because I'm pretty sure a lot of kids out there only got to 100% and never got to anything higher than that.
Yeah, so did you want to explain it, or?
You can go ahead. I can focus on GeoWiz in the meantime.
Yeah, so it's 105% because every single collectible item in this game, I guess, gives you 1%, and there are 25 crystals. The game tells you there's 42 gems and 28 relics, and then there's 5 power-ups. But in reality, there's actually 45 gems and 30 relics, because there are 2 super secret levels that you can only access by finding a secret entrance hidden in another level. And those 2 levels have a gem and relic respectively, so that's another 4% there, and it puts the game at 104%. But there's also a final gem that Coco gives you in the center of the warp room if all 30 of your gems are gold or platinum. So the 105% speedrun is
relics.
just... Oh, yeah, relics. Sorry. So yeah, the 105% speedrun is getting all the crystals, all the gems, all the gold relics, and all the power-ups. So there's a pretty cool strat in this bonus that I'm sure Nitroff is going to go for.
Yeah, there's a kind of a setup to basically get both crates here. Okay, that's okay. Set up here to get both crates while the bridge is building up.
Yeah, that is honestly like not as difficult as it looks. It's definitely a little scary the first time you do it. That's actually one of the many things Nitroff has taught me how to do in the past.
I got
like
the
3
suicidal
weeks.
frog.
Oh no. Yeah, so for some reason they just put a nitro and a frog like right next to each other, and the way the frogs move is that they kind of like hop erratically, but also kind of like move towards Crash. So you can force the frog to jump into the nitro, or at least like kind of coax it into doing so. And that's actually something you can still do in the Insane trilogy. So I wonder if it was just intentional the entire time.
Another thing that we can probably mention is the fact that relics strip you of masks as you start them, but you keep all the masks you get at the end of a relic, which makes relics very useful as means to replenish your masks. As we mentioned, triple mask form is actually very fast in this game, so we're going to try and get triple mask forms in all of the platformer levels as much as we can.
They're also quite fast on the monkey bars, as you just saw there.
Indeed. So I basically left GeoWiz Relic behind on purpose because we're going to be using it later to replenish mask. Okay. Well, now I lost both of my masks, which is...
Man, it's a good thing we left GeoWiz behind, huh?
Mm-hmm. This is actually leads me already to decide that I'm going to be doing a reroute. Normally after this, I'd be doing Midnight Run. But in order to save as much time as possible in Midnight Run, I need at least one mask. So I'm going to be doing Hug Ride after this. Hug Ride being the motorcycle level, you don't need masks in it, so now is perfect time to do it. As soon as I'm going to be done with Hug Ride, I'm going to be going back into G-Wiz to get my masks back. Followed by, let me think about this for a second. Yeah, followed by Tomb Time First Visit. What is going on here? Okay. I live. Here, I need to take my time. Okay.
Momentum in Crash 3 is very strange, especially in comparison to Crash 2. Crash feels like very heavy in the air. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just like, it's really hard to stop Crash once he is airborne. And that can definitely be very weird with precise platforming.
Yeah, there's one easy way to do it, but it throws me off more often than not, and that's just spinning while neutral.
Yeah.
But you have to have your spin available, and as I said, it throws me off more often than not. So yeah, motorcycle levels. Not much to say here other than there are turbo pads, and we want to keep the turbo as long as we can. This level specifically has been designed so you can actually keep the turbo you get here all the way throughout. So that's what we're going to do. And also all the turns are very gentle.
Yeah, another thing of note is that Nitroff is willingly going for the one cycle here. This will also be done in 2 of the other 3 motorcycle levels. 1 because you have to. It's overall faster to just get the gem and the relic at the same time because you have to break most of the time crates anyway. And so it's better on the first pass to just keep this wheelie going for the entire level and to just get the crystal and then come back and do the gem and relic together when you can't realistically carry the wheelie anyway.
The one exception is Orange Asphalt because they made the relic time so easy that you can just like ignore all the boxes and still get the relic, and that also gives you an opportunity to mess up getting all the boxes during the crystal visit and still have a chance to do it in the relic. But the best counterexample is Road Crash, the second motorcycle level. That one you need like all the boxes but maybe 2 to get a good relic. So in that one we just always go for everything on the relic visit. There's just no point in going for the boxes.
I also think that the one cycle actually makes this a little easier, at least in my experience, because as a casual, I found this relic to be pretty annoying to get. But if you're going for every box in the time trial, you're pretty consistently getting like a 40-second time, and the gold relic here is 41. So as long as you don't like crash into anything, you're basically guaranteed to get the gold relic if you do the one cycle.
Fun fact, if you release gas right before ramps and then let the motorcycle go on its swing, I guess, whatever, before pressing the gas again as it lands, you save like 3 or 4 frames. If I didn't do that at the end, I wouldn't have gotten a 39.8. I would have probably gotten a 0.93 or something like that.
I actually did not know that.
Actually, yeah, I didn't know that.
That's a new one for me. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah, the important part is you have to, like, if you press gas again as soon as you land, you save basically nothing. But if you let it slide a bit longer, then you save time. So again, I'm not going to be going for basically any time crate here. I really don't need them.
Yeah, because of the neutral slide jump, and honestly, even without it, most of these gold relics are pretty easy to get. So because
what I am going to be going for is masks. Go ahead.
Because we don't care about the in-game timer. We care about like the real-time timer. You can just skip most of them, and that's going to save more on the run than you would be like mitigating a risk that doesn't exist anyway by getting these time crates.
Oh my god. I might want to go for a couple time crates now.
I think you're still fine.
Yeah.
You can get like so few time crates and still get the platinum relic in this time trial. So there's
Yeah,
I think the closest we get to like a tight platforming relic is either like probably like double header or gone tomorrow if you don't get the triples.
Still a plat.
Yeah, the plat here is like 105, and you know Nitrov had some like messed up movement there on top of just skipping a bunch of time crates, and he was still completely fine. So
Right,
that kind of just shows
masks
how
back
easy it is.
Next thing I'm going to do is Tomb Time, because that one also requires masks, and then I'm going to be able to sacrifice my masks in Midnight Run to get the cuddle skip that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So Tomb Time is a level that is actually impossible to get either gem in on the first pass, because there's a purple gem path in this level that houses not only like a gem path gem, but also crates for the box gem. But you don't get the purple gem until level 13 in Warp Room 3. So in this first pass, Nitroff is just getting the crystal. And then when he comes back, he will be getting both gems.
Everything at once, hopefully.
Both gems and hopefully also the relic, but more on that when we come back to it. I see you're practicing by getting that crate already. Yeah, here you can kind of see at the end of this level just how good neutral slide jump is, because the idea is that you hit the exclamation crate and those platforms start moving, but Nitrov doesn't care. He's just going to neutral slide jump across them and just very cleanly make the gap.
Now we got two masks entering Midnight Run, which brings another interesting fact. The game doesn't like spawning balloons and masks at the same time, or whatever. I don't know the exact specifics. But in order to get every crate here, I need to take a hit and get myself down to normal to one mask.
Yeah,
because otherwise, this balloon coming up here would not have spawned.
Yeah, it's a really weird quirk, and sometimes it just spawns anyway, but it's like it's way safer to just throw that mask, because you don't need it for this level, and you're going to lose it by the end of it anyway. A similar quirk can happen in Orient Express. So if you, for example, you do under pressure and go immediately into Orient Express after the one cycle, you'll want to make sure you like lose the second mask in under pressure at some point. But otherwise, there's another cuddle skip coming up here, and this one uses a damage abuse, but is much easier overall.
That should be it.
Very nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's cuddle skip. Basically skips Coco even just jumping off of Hora. She just directly gets warped into the orb.
Yeah. And
that's what I tried to do the first couple times. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that probably looked like really insane, but that is actually much easier than the one in Orient Express. All you do that one is you damage abuse off of the assistant at the end, hold up and diagonal, and just jump across those two flagpoles. And as long as you hold up diagonal and X, you pretty much just cleanly get it all the time and also grab the gem.
Oh, look, I'm cheesing Dingo Dial.
Yeah, so the way Dingo Dial is supposed to work is that you're supposed to wait for him to attack you, and then he blows through these crystals with his flamethrower, and when he makes an opening, you just go up and hit him. But that glitch high jump I mentioned back during Tiny really comes into use here. You can just use the glitch high jump to go over the crystals entirely. And fun fact, they kept that in the remake, so if you wanted to speedrun the Insane Trilogy version of Crash 3, you can do this.
Okay, we're going to be cleaning up Midnight Run now, getting the relic, and then we'll be getting to Hang 'em High. So I guess we can start explaining Hang 'em High right away, because there's nothing going on here.
Yeah, so Hang 'em High houses the yellow gem, but it's in a secret path that you are normally only supposed to be able to access by receiving 10 relics and then entering through the level 27 button in Warp Room 6. However, that's pretty slow, understandably, and you can actually use a neutral slide jump and a double jump, which we just got from beating Dingodile, in order to access the end of the secret path during the time trial and in the normal visit to the level. So what Nitroff is going to do is that he's going to go through the entire time trial, do a specific movement to touch the platform on the other side of the level, and then grab the yellow gem, and then just skip having to do that secret entrance entirely.
I could very easily lose minutes in the next split if things don't go my way.
It's definitely a trick that is pretty brutal to mess up, but overall is not really difficult. But it also
the jump to the secret path itself is not difficult, but you got to land in a specific way, otherwise the camera won't follow you.
Yeah. So,
well, as soon as we get there, we might be able to see either a success or a failure.
I did see someone in the chat ask, they were wondering how much of the remake is just copying code from the PS1 version. And as Cameron in the chat said, the answer is 0%. The remakes were remade completely from the ground up, and as speedruns are completely different games. But definitely also really cool runs, so I would definitely recommend checking them out as well.
Okay. We're only going to get one attempt.
I still believe.
I'm just happy I survived.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those early game parts of the run that if it doesn't go well, you could find yourself just back and under pressure. You can actually see the yellow gem in the background as Nitroff crossed this part.
First try.
Very nice. Yeah, so you couldn't see it because it was off screen. I'm going to let you get the yellow gem before I explain this. Yeah, so
all good.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, this is a relief. I have been struggling with this trick so much recently.
Yeah, so all of the movement Nitroff did there was very specific. He was facing forward before he went for the NSJ. If you face back and pull the camera following you is not consistent. And also when he landed on the platform, you couldn't see it because it was off screen. Well, you probably could have seen it from the input display, but he tapped up and down very lightly, and doing that forced the camera to lock back onto crash. If you don't get the camera to follow you, then everything in the gem path doesn't spawn. You can't grab the yellow gem, and you'll likely just fail the trick. Yeah, the yellow gem is actually really important for the level that Nitroff has just entered, which is Dynamite.
As you can see to my right, but I'm going to be skipping it for now because we have a special route here that allows us to get 5 collectibles in the same level visit here.
Yeah, this has to be one of the coolest level routes in the entire run, if not the coolest.
So all that I'm walking here, you have to do twice anyway if you go for the boxes, because the yellow gem that I didn't use so far would spit you out right
about here. Yeah.
I'm just going to go a little further than that here, and I'm actually going to grab this checkpoint early. What this will allow me to do is at the end of the level, I'm going to be death abusing and getting back into the yellow gem path after getting the box gem and enter Aegipus Rex during this same visit.
Aegipus Rex is one of the 2 secret levels that I mentioned earlier. All right, you got to go for the early dino on the way out.
Early dino?
Just like hold down and the dino pops out early.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See?
Oh.
You can also do it on the way.
That.
You can also do it on the way in, but it's a little harder. Yeah. So now that he's gotten the last checkpoint in the main level, Nitroff is going to backtrack to the yellow gem path. The key thing here is just that the last checkpoint he breaks has to be the one in the gem path in order to go into Aegipus Rex.
Okay.
It's a very
my
interesting stutter.
Okay, not the best backtrack, but we kept both our masks, which is really good. I'm gonna want to use one mask later here to actually save time on breaking boxes, and the other one is really nice to have for safety because at any point I could like mess up a jump, fall into the lava, and I really don't want to die after the next checkpoint. Okay, well here's one reason I wanted to keep that mask.
Dying at any point in this level is really bad time loss.
So here's the last checkpoint we're gonna get. And now I just need to get to the end of the level.
It's also important to not get grabbed by that pterodactyl. I did that one time.
Thankfully that's never happened to me. I almost messed up that. Okay, we're good. And right, you can slide under collectibles. That's gonna be really cool if it happens in Tomb Raider one cycle.
Shout outs to Rex.
And now we get to the end of the level.
Something else of note is that in that section with the body slam crates and the TNT, Nitroff actually didn't body slam the iron crate that was in the first set. And that's because if you move far away enough from those TNTs, it actually deloads that crate and just takes it with the TNTs. So yeah, Nitroff grabbed the gem there in Death Abuse. We're back in the yellow gem path. There's something special about this pterodactyl.
What's this? Not a death? Where are we?
Okay, so I have to ask a genuine question. Did anybody find that as a kid, like, not on accident? Because I feel like that has to be the most cryptic secret in the entire trilogy. But yeah, this is Oedipus Rex. It is the only level in the entire game with 0 crates. It's just a 2D platformer with Baby T.
I seriously did not know this existed.
Yeah. The only reason I knew about this level is because a neighbor I had as a kid knew about the level and told me about it. I genuinely don't know how you would find it otherwise, but it's also like you don't need this level for 100%. You just need it for 105, so I think they knew how cryptic it was.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, fun fact about this level and the level that Nitroff is going to be going into next is that because of a glitch on the American version of the game specifically, the Platinum Relic in this level is extremely easy. And it's actually, for the level he's going to go to, I assume next, Hot Cocoa. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. I had to think about that because we actually have different routes. There's a 1 cycle in Hot Cocoa that is only possible on the American version because of this glitch.
I just saw Cinder make a comment about the fact that the dino here was cute. If you saw the dino in NST, you would be afraid.
Yeah.
He is spooky.
I really like the remake, so I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but some of the artistic style and like the charm is lost in the transition to HD. But like I don't want people to think I dislike the remake because I like it quite a lot. But yeah, what a precarious alien sign. I know when I see alien signs, I just think about hitting them with my motorcycle.
Oh, look, another secret level. Who would have thought?
Yep. So they had 2 super secret levels and they hid both of them in Warp Room 3. And yeah, so this is Hot Cocoa. This is the only completely non-linear level in the game. The way this level works is that you actually are spit out at the end of it, but the exit is blocked off by a group of 4 or 5 nitros. So you have to find the nitro detonator, hit it, and then travel back to the beginning of the level, which I think is really cool, honestly. I know a lot of people hate this level, but I think casually, and even just how Nitroff is doing it right now with a very specific route for the speedrun, I think this level's sick. Definitely pretty hard, though. But yeah, so going back on the glitch I mentioned, this only happens in the North American version of the game, but Hot Cocoa and Eggipus Rex are supposed to have their own time trial times. Hot Cocoa specifically is supposed to have a gold relic time of like 30 seconds, but for whatever reason, Hot Cocoa has the relic times of Road Crash, which is its parent level, and Eggipus Rex has the time trial times of Dynamite. And because of that, Hot Cocoa's gold relic time is 1 minute and 20 seconds. So this is a very lenient one cycle, whereas on every other version of the game, it is impossible.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
that crate.
This
that
crate is
annoying.
really obnoxious. Like, you're supposed to like hold forward to like go down and hit it like that. Sometimes you don't get enough. You don't get enough of a descent. Sometimes you get too much of a descent and you go under it.
So that might have looked bad. I had to go back for this twice, but like I'm not afraid for the one cycle. I could mess that up 6 times and still get the one cycle if I wanted.
I think I've failed it like upwards of 4 times and still barely made it. So yeah, that's how lenient the time trial glitch makes this level.
Now there's one last thing that's a little scary here. There's going to be a shark coming up that really likes to just body block a ramp that we need. But hopefully I won't have jinxed it by mentioning it. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, that shark's cycle is really annoying. It is the slowest moving shark I've ever seen. Not that I've seen a lot of sharks, but just if you actually miss a crate on that ramp, it takes forever for the shark to get out of the way. But yeah, look how Nitroff got a 50-second time on that time trial, even after failing the ramp twice. He had an extra 30 seconds to work with, so that's just how lenient this one cycle is on the US version.
I really need to refrain myself, like hold myself back, because in my streams I keep humming to those songs, some of those simpler levels.
You just gotta let it go.
I'm trying not to, but yeah.
Yeah, a side effect of running the game with sound effects off is that you get very, very well acquainted with the music and you realize how much of a vibe it is. So it's very easy to hum along to it. I usually catch myself humming to the Egypt music.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum. For a second, I thought I was supposed to go for crates and I got spooked, but no. First visit, no crates. That's fine.
This is also one of my favorite songs in the game. Yeah, so like we mentioned with Hog Ride, in Road Crash, it is faster to just do the one cycle because there are 25 crates in this level, and in the time trial, all 25 of them become time crates. And the gold relic time realizes this and is tight enough that you have to break almost all of them anyway. So it just saves time to cut some corners in the crystal path and then just get all the gems while you're doing the time trial.
Here I tried to skip that ramp and keep the turbo, but unfortunately I still touched it and got thrown into those, I guess, construction blockers thing.
Also,
English is not my first language, by the way.
Also, for anybody who's attempted to get all the platinum relics in this game, if this time trial gave you grief, don't worry, it gave it to me too. This is a very difficult one, in my opinion, and it's possibly the hardest of the platinums.
I definitely agree. If everything goes right here, I'm going to get platinum. But, there's still a chance that I won't.
Yeah. When we were at SGDQ, Nitroff actually watched me get all the platinums in this game, and I intentionally saved this one for last.
So the target time here is a 120 flat, right? For gold?
It's 120.73, I believe.
And then platinum is like a 116.
It's like 117. It's like a low 117.
Okay, so this might have looked bad, the fact that I kind of got pushed to the side, but actually in my book, that's probably good. Because usually if I do everything right, like 90% of the time, I'm actually going to bump into one of the guys right as I'm about to hit a jump, which will slow me down a lot. But now that I've been slowed down a bit more, I should be able to avoid all of that. And in the end, save a bit more time. Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, that racer can be very annoying. If you just hit him the wrong way, you hit the back of his car, you either fall in the hole or you go flying in like a completely different direction and just get out of bounds, and then the relic's just gone.
Nice, we got the thing this time. This is a really good attempt so far.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going really cleanly.
The only thing that could mess me up now is entirely my fault, like just messing some of the turns, and there's only one crate left. Here it goes.
Yeah, a 106 at that point is really nice. You can still like barely scrape by this with like a 110 at that last crate. 114. That
114 is clean. Yeah,
that might be like
good.
That's definitely one of the best road crash one cycles I've ever seen. I think I averaged like 117s, 118s there. That was crazy.
Okay, so now we need our masks back. Every other level in this warp room needs masks. Thankfully, we already did Dynamite, which means we can go back in here, do the time trial, get the masks there. Unfortunately, Dynamite is one of the few levels that doesn't have invincibility in the time trial. So in order to get both masks out of here, I'll actually need to make sure I don't get hit by anything.
Yeah, out of all the platforming levels, the only two that do not have 3 masks in the time trial are this and Toad Village. There are a few others where we don't get the triple mask just because we do 1 cycles before we reach the 3rd mask, but they do actually have 3 masks, unlike this level.
Zigzagging with the dino. I really don't care about the time crates, by the way.
Yeah, again,
I'm not going to be getting plat here, but the gold is free.
Yeah, again, like the time crates don't really matter because all we need for 105% is the gold relic, and you can get the gold relic very easily by just neutral slide jumping through the level. Also of note is that zigzagging does work on Baby T, and it is the fastest way to move with him. It's basically like you're playing Crash 1 for a very short segment.
Nice Ricky bounce right at the end.
Yeah,
All right, we got both masks out. There is a chance that the game will just crash entering doubleheader. It's a slim chance, but it is a chance. I've prepared a safety. I have prepared a safety save if that ever happens.
Yeah.
Let's just hope, because this one is going really well so far. So I'd really like it if it was legit in the end. And we're good.
Okay, good. That is always like a clincher. Yeah, Crash 3 is not the most stable. Doubleheader is probably the least stable level, and there is a chance that it will just crash right when you enter. Thankfully, the better your hardware is, like better conditioned, it's like the less likely it is to happen, but there's always the risk of it.
I'm looking for a 34 count as I hit that checkpoint. Got it. We're good for the rest of the level.
Yeah. I see someone in the chat asking why does it crash. This is just a really laggy level. I'm assuming part of it has to do with the rain effect, because a similar level in Crash 2 Turtle Woods is also notoriously laggy because of the rain. So it's more than the console can handle, and if you're on like an older model of PS2, like a 70K or a fat model, the amount of lag is sometimes just too much for the game to handle, and it just crashes. There's a few spots where the game can crash. Doubleheader is by far the most common and well-known. There's also a crash in Tomb Raider that is completely avoidable.
I also prepared a safety save for that one, so
Yeah.
in case I mess up bad, we're still going to be fine. But I'm prepared for everything here.
Yeah, definitely good to be prepared, because even though it's completely avoidable, you can get it, as Nitroff nicely reminded me when I got it a few weeks ago. For the first time, actually. Oh yeah, so Nitroff did something called a Nitro Bounce. In Crash 3, Nitros have expanding hitboxes on their explosions, kind of similar to the TNTs in every Crash game on the PS1. And if you time a jump off of a Nitro properly, you can just avoid that hitbox entirely. So it lets you just blow up Nitros without getting hit by them. And in Doubleheader, that's really useful, because if you saw at the end, the Nitro detonator was on the opposite side of the screen as the gem. So manually detonating every Nitro in the level just saves the time of having to hit the detonator. I also saw some people asking in chat why it's being run on a PS2, and I guess we didn't really touch on it because it's kind of like a universal thing with most PS1 games these days, I feel. But PS2 is fastest because of an option called fast disk speed, which is just an option that PS2s have, where it causes the disc to spin at the rate of a PS2 disc, and it just cuts all of the load times by about half, I want to say. So the result is PS2. Like, the run itself isn't any different, but the load times are faster on PS2 compared to PS1 or emulator or PS3. Otherwise, this is deep trouble. It's the second of 2 underwater levels, but it does have a bit more going on than Under Pressure. Nitroff is going to get to the end of this level, and then he's going to actually like turn around and backtrack, because this level has the red gem.
That should have been it.
Yeah, so
I don't really feel like checking, but if I don't automatically get off this vehicle when I reach the left side, that means we didn't hit the checkpoint, and we did.
oh, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
A nice way to know you got it or not. Yeah, so it was off screen, but at the end of this level, there's an exclamation crate, and hitting it triggered that TNT that Nitroff just blew up, which again, he did it with a spin by getting out of the range of the hitbox. And this is just an entirely secret path that has more crates, and at the end of it is also the red gem.
And I have a mask left. I don't need it for the rest, so I can just power through this last obstacle. I actually took damage earlier where I didn't want to, which means I couldn't do both damage abuses, but the last 2 obstacles in the level we usually damage through. And we're going to be going back to Doubleheader because we need more masks.
Nice snipe.
That is not the direction I wanted to slide, but it wasn't a problem. Oh, hello.
Nice body slam. Yeah, so kind of universal thing across any Crash game that has a body slam. It's always mapped to the same button as slide. So if you want to go for a slide but something forces you into the air, or if you just didn't land, you can very easily just get an accidental body slam, which ranges from annoying to deadly.
Ba-da-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Yes, get it.
It's actually one of my least favorite songs in the game.
It has a catchy tune.
It's all right.
Okay, and now high time.
I guess I can't talk though. My favorite song in this game is a song that everybody else hates. So
I almost walked right into that fire.
unfortunate. So high time on it. I feel like this is one of the coolest levels in the run. It's also one of the harder ones.
There's a really cool strat in this bonus. There's actually going to be a stack here of 4 crates. 2 of them are strong crates. I'm going to try to slip under that stack so I can break the 2 crates without having to body slam like this.
Yep.
And then like that. That was perfect. Clean. And also good carpet cycle. That never happens.
Yeah, I always get a bad cycle there. Okay, so there's a death row platform right there, and Nitroff is going to ignore it.
Oh, okay. That was a bit slow. And wow.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate movement. If all the movement goes really well here, you can carry this Trouble Mask all the way to these last hangrail sections and not have to wait on anything.
I need to practice this level. I am not good at it. But I exited with 2 masks, which is already something. That doesn't usually happen.
So the next boss fight is with Entropy. And
here, the music doesn't leave for the whole time, but this is a preview of what Tiny would have looked like if I'd skipped the cutscene right away.
yeah, once you cross about halfway through the map, the music starts. You can actually trigger by going to the edge and spinning. But yeah, this might seem like a really uneventful boss fight, but just wait.
Here comes the money. I need to go down? Okay.
Yeah.
If I'd stayed up there a bit longer, he would have smited me
You
again.
terrified me, dude.
Okay. So basically I take damage on the last orb and use that invincibility to survive the insta-kill smite attack here.
Yeah.
And then, wait, doing that speeds up how quickly he goes to the next phase, and then I wait down here to avoid the rest. Jump back up here, damage him. Oh, I was too early. Wow, okay. Here goes 1 minute. I haven't done that in a while.
Now you get to see what it looks like without that.
It's not going to look too different. It's just going to, like, you're going to see how long it takes for Entropy to transition between the 2 phases. Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time. Yeah, we're just going to be waiting down here. We don't have the masks to survive the attack. So here we just have to wait.
Yeah, the smite attack, as Nitroff called it, is kind of just a failsafe to stop people from just going into attacking Entropy too early. Which I guess they assumed, like, if you come back after getting the Death Tornado spin, which you get in this fight, you can very easily reach the other side. So they kind of put that in as a way to say, like, hey, no cheating, but we use it to cheat anyway.
That was the first mistake of the run.
Yeah, this run's been really clean up until that point. Aside from, like, the Death and Hang 'em Highs bonus.
I had forgotten about that, but you're right.
It's all good. We appreciate you being here.
You got to hear the song more, because this is definitely, like, one of the best songs in the game.
Okay. Moving on, now we have 2 more relics to do, and this is the first warp room we can actually complete fully on the first visit. So we're not going to be coming back to warp room 3. I need to finish Deep Trouble and High Time, and then will come the backtrack, because on top of being the first warp room that you can finish completely, it's also the warp room that gives everything to complete the backtracks we left behind in warp rooms 1 and 2.
Yep.
That is the red gem and the purple gem.
Yep. So after this, Nitroff will be backtracking to both of those warp rooms. I don't know what order he's going to do it in, but he's going to be completing Boneyard and Tomb Time. And you also Toad Village as well. You left
Toad
that.
Village, yeah.
Toad Village is like one of the extra time trials that you can just use to replenish masks. So some runners choose to save it for the backtrack. Others, like myself, just do it early just to get it out of the way. Either is completely viable.
We're going to be trying to skip the whirlpool here. We'll see what cycle I have. Yeah, that's easy.
That's a cycle skip that is not difficult at all, but it still scares me enough to not go for it. I'll probably start going for it soon, though. I think I'm becoming more comfortable in this level.
Easy plat.
This is definitely like one of the easiest plats in the game. You can just do it.
And finally, high time, which is our next one cycle. Rico pointed out the death route platform that I didn't touch earlier. We can conveniently actually do it here during the relic. It's a little tight, so okay, I'm actually going to death abuse again and do it again. It's a little tight, and we actually death abuse at the start in order to reset the cycles so we know exactly what to expect throughout this whole thing.
There's going to be several one cycles like this that are tight enough where if you don't do a death abuse at the start, it's too erratic of what could happen that it's like basically not feasible to actually go for it. And high times is really the first case of that, but we'll see this in a few more levels later in the run.
It should be a good enough cycle for the second hangrail skip.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we kind of completely glossed over the first hangrail skip. If you get enough height, you can just dodge the hangrails entirely. The one cycle is completely doable without the hangrail skips, but they are faster and they look cool.
I don't think that's it. Oh, that's it. That was it, but I wasn't far enough up. Okay, let's just go for it again.
Yeah, this second hangrail skip is really finicky in my experience, like trying to mess with it.
Okay, this one might be a bit more sketchy. Okay. I'm at a point where I will need to go for a second hangrail skip to get this time trial now. Should be fine. Because this time the genie is going to be higher on the cycle, so I won't hesitate quite as much. I'm going to have to go around this guy. Take damage on that guy on purpose.
Yep, that should be fine. The gold relic is oh.
One more time. That's just
Like, it's such a cool one cycle. We just got to do it again and again. Yeah, high time is of a level where it's very, very easy to snowball. Yeah, for the second hangrail skip, the height of the genie, at least from my experience trying to learn this, is pretty important. If the genie is low, it's very easy to fall off out of bounds and just die.
Thankfully, it doesn't have to be like that high for it to work, but it's still like sometimes it's not even worth going for, and I'm just gonna skip it. This time, this cycle should be good as well. The one thing that's important here is taking damage on that guy. And then, there we go. Yep.
It's also very easy to get stuck up there.
Well, it's taking it safe at the end here.
Very nice. First try.
First try.
Yeah. If that one cycle looked hard, it is.
And that's the last level we had to complete here. So as Rico pointed out, now I'm going to be going for the backtracks. I'm actually doing Warp 1 first. So the first thing you're going to see is Boneyard coming up here. Another 1 cycle. This time I needed the red gem, and it's definitely possible to get Gold Relic and the red gem path in the same visit. So I'm going to be doing that. Though this one is like basically the first 1 cycle where I'd say like if you don't do zigzag slides in your NSJs, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, Boneyard's an interesting one. I know, speaking to a lot of people who are like first learning. I need that mask. I think the most important thing is you actually need triple for this. If you take a hit, you might as well just restart the trial. But yeah, speaking to people who are trying to learn both like this category and the remake's equivalent 108%, this really trips up new runners. It's like, it feels so impossible when you're first learning it.
You kidding? Is that exactly the same spot? No, okay.
No, I think the first one was it was a pterodactyl.
Yeah. It just feels like it was the same spot because I got tripped up the same way earlier. I just didn't take damage, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, this 1 cycle is one where you really need to know the layout of the entire level in order to do it effectively. Being able to zigzag slide definitely helps. I was able to get it pretty consistently before I started doing zigzag NSJ, so if you're at a level where you're not ready to zigzag NSJ, but you feel like you could start going for some of the harder 1 cycles, I would say don't be discouraged on this one. But definitely the best thing you can do is learn the entire route, especially for this gem path.
I actually love this section.
Yeah, this section is really cool. There is an unfortunate bug that can happen here that hopefully will not happen.
We should be fine. I haven't gotten it since I've started doing things the way I'm doing them now.
I got it yesterday, so I took the fall for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that spot right there after the pterodactyl, sometimes the floor just doesn't load. And I think you can tell if like the high current just doesn't show up, and if that happens, Crash just dies.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's
he just falls straight through.
It's a fun way to lose a minute. I feel like I've actually gotten it quite frequently recently, and I'm just thinking to myself, am I getting too good at this game?
Oh my gosh.
Am I going too fast for it?
I feel like with the levels where you're like running away from like a big enemy like the dino, it's always like the most anxiety filled, but to like add that on top of it, it's kind of crazy.
It's like they clearly didn't intend you to do the time trial at the same time, so they kind of assumed you would take your time, and they're like, okay, we can just let this load a little bit, and then speedrunners are just like, nah. Yeah, so we're back at level 1. Again, this is one of the time trials that you can just leave. I understand why Nitrov does this later now, because the next level he's doing is Tomb Time, and he actually doesn't need to bring any masks into it, so he can get better lines and corner cuts by just skipping the masks that are here. Because, again, this is one of the 2 platforming levels that doesn't have 3 masks in the time trial, so the masks here are actually pretty useless, unless you want to use them as backups.
Well, I could still do that during Warp 1 and still avoid all the masks. But it's just like I want to get out of Warp 1 as soon as possible when I'm doing attempts.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable. It doesn't really matter where you put Toad Village. Like some people like me, like I put this at the beginning of the run just because I like to take some extra. I like the freedom to take some extra hits and making waves and then replenish my masks here before I do Boneyard.
Fair enough.
But you can also do what Nitrov does, where he just saves it for later just to get out of Warp 1 sooner.
And now, Tomb Time. Am I going to get button glitch? Yes, I got button glitch. Okay.
Oh, you did?
It should
nice.
It should be a fairly free 1 cycle. Normally, without button glitch, the target time to get the 1 cycle is a 110, and I average like a 108.
Yeah.
When I actually do the route properly. But now we get a 122 target time instead, which will make things a lot more lenient.
It is not an exaggeration to say that this is possibly the hardest strat in the entire game. I think the only thing that's considered harder is like the fastest cycle in Tomb Raider and no item glitch, which is the any % category. But yeah, what Nitroff is doing is that he's doing the bonus first, and then he's gonna death abuse back to the beginning of the level, and that will let him get the box gem, the relic, and the gem path gem at the same time.
I'd be going for that either way, but chances are, if I didn't get button glitch, I would have had to, finish the time trial without the proper target time, get the box gem, and then restart trial to just do the time trial normally. But now I actually got the leniency to do it all at once and even take my time when I'm not sure about a certain jump.
Yeah, it's very common if you don't have the movement capable of this one cycle to just do this level in 2 visits. While we were at SGDQ, we actually had a conversation about this where Nitroff was telling me that the world record holder, Burgerlands, said that the time difference between doing the one cycle and failing it compared to not trying it at all is basically negligible. So one night in the practice room, I timed it myself and reached the same conclusion. So as long as you don't die, there isn't too much reason to not go for it, but also if you're starting out, it's completely understandable to do it in 2 passes. But yeah, to put into perspective how hard this is, on top of Nitroff saying that he's been averaging like 108s, 109s, this is a one cycle that at my skill level, and I have a 210 in this category, which is considered pretty respectable. I can only do this with button glitch, which did we?
It ate my jump. It completely ate my jump. That was not my fault.
Yeah, so sometimes the game just likes to do that. Did we explain how exactly button glitch works? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit.
Not really.
Yeah, you can feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, so if you saw when Nitroff entered the level, when he touched the portal, he didn't lose control of Crash. He had free movement in the warp room before the level loaded. If you do that and then touch the button of another level, the time trial times get overwritten with the level of whatever you touched. So he got the button glitch and then he stepped on the button for G-Wiz. So now, despite the fact that he's in tomb time, he's comparing to the relic times of G-Wiz, which gives him an extra 12 seconds to work with.
And by the way, losing that mask there was going to cost me more than 12 seconds.
Yeah.
That mask is really important.
Yeah, it is. It cannot be understated how specific the movement in this one cycle has to be. Like, you have to go through it very quickly. You can't miss any of the triples. You can't get any of them early. Like, he has to dodge this mask, at least if he didn't have button glitch, because having the entire mask invincibility for the way back is definitely crucial. This is a really, really hard one cycle.
Get that, okay.
Yeah. Should be fine though. Ooh.
That was scary.
That was terrifying.
Oh, yeah, I was holding my breath.
Yeah. But
112.
I still feel like that was
disappointed by that, but that showcases just how difficult that was.
Yeah, I feel like overall that was pretty solid movement outside of a few spots, but without button glitch that wouldn't have been it. That's just how hard it is. Yeah, a downside of running on the NTSC version of the game is that I don't know why. This is also a thing with Crash 2. Is that for some reason the NTSC versions of the game are laggier than the PAL versions, so you have to deal with a lot of dropped inputs compared to Crash 2, which you also have to deal with a lot of dropped inputs. Crash 2 is optimal on the PAL version for the unaware. But yeah, this is Tomb Raider, so we get even more tomb levels. This is, in my opinion, one of the coolest levels, but also one of the hardest.
Good start. Should be on cycle for the invincibility.
I see you went for the checkpoint.
Never mind. I mean, I'm still going to be on cycle for the invincibility. I'm not going for the fastest cycle here because I'm not good enough yet.
Yeah,
which means I'd have to wait a bit anyway.
Yeah, the fastest cycles in this level are on par with the Tomb Time 1 cycle in terms of difficulty achieving. This is a very, very cycle-heavy level. If you were not able to tell, this level's gimmick is that every few seconds the water rises and falls. Crash is not a good swimmer unless he has scuba gear, which actually makes zero sense if you know anything about scuba in real life. But yeah, the triple mask is really, really important in this level because, as you see now, it keeps the water at walkable level. And that just lets, aside from the speed boost, it just lets you not have to worry about the cycles at all.
I should have gone towards the stairs. I'm stupid. Okay.
I think going for the platform was like a reasonable last resort. It looked like the stairs might have been like very slightly out of reach.
Okay. Now I need to remember this death cycle here.
Tomb Waiter is another one of those levels that is very, very easy to snowball, especially if you take an accidental death. The masks here are quite vital. And if you die, the cycles can get screwed up really badly.
I'm gonna have to take my time here.
Oh my god. This is...
I know what I'm doing.
This is also a level where the momentum in Crash 3 is quite cruel. To go fast, it's some pretty precise platforming, and precision is not one of Crash's strong points in the third game, I feel.
So an unfortunate side effect of me dying in this level is I lost my masks. Normally I'd be going to Sphinxinator right after this, hoping that I'd have both masks back, or still have my masks. So again, route is flexible. I can reroute. I'm going to be doing the time trial relic of this level right away, and I'm going to be getting both masks here, where normally I'd only get one of them.
Yeah. I want to say Warp 4 might actually be the most flexible in terms of routing. There's so many ways you can do this, to the point that I mentioned at the beginning of the run that a lot of top runners only use like 2 or 3 splits across the entire run because of how flexible the route is. The world record actually does have level splits, except for in Warp 4, where I'm pretty sure Burger's only split besides Tomb Waiter is Warp 4 lol. So that just shows how flexible this is.
And that's unfortunate. That's the game playing tricks on me again.
Yeah.
I pressed the X button so early there, but no jump came out. And the death plane in this level, especially in the water sections, is extremely high.
Yeah, if you touch any of if you just like dip your toe into any of those holes, you just die immediately. Looking a bit of the chat, the coyote time is not real. It's not like coyote time like Crash 4, where you can slide and then half a second later do a jump. You do have some control after you like slide off an edge. We call those like extending your slide, but you do start to descend immediately on leaving the edge. Unlike Crash 4, where as long as you are sliding, you don't fall. Another thing I saw being talked about by Ricky in the chat is that the PAL movement for Crash is faster because the developers overcompensated for PAL games having a slower frame rate. And that is why Crash 2 is faster. The reason Crash 3 is faster on NTSC, because despite the fact that that movement buff is also in Crash 1 and 3, the reason Crash 3 is still faster on NTSC, on top of the one cycle in Hot Cocoa only working on the NTSC version, the PAL version removes a lot of masks. So yes, your base movement is faster, but you miss out on a lot of triple mask movement, and that just saves more in the long run.
All right, goal achieved. I was supposed to exit Tomb Waiter with 2 masks, so I'm going to grab those and bring them into Sphinxinator right away. The invincibility here doesn't save that much time, but it mostly removes a bit of the inconsistency. Like, it does save time, but on top of that, it keeps all the doors open. So sometimes you'd get here, the next door ahead, which you don't even see yet, but it's basically right before that checkpoint. The door might close right in front of you, and then you'd have to wait like 3 or 4 seconds for it to open again. If you have invincibility, all the doors just stay open.
Yeah. Also note, there was a forked path at the beginning of this level. The path on the left has absolutely nothing in it, so you just never see it in the run.
Okay, I didn't want to take that damage, but it's fine. 46, we're good on boxes.
We did actually mention, Nitroff mentioned a Ricky bounce at the end of Dynamite. I guess we didn't really touch on what they are, and they are named after Ricky. Basically, if you, in Crash 2 and 3, if you spin on the same frame that you land from a jump, you get a little short hop, and they're generally really inconvenient and sometimes can kill you. So they're a bit of a fun thing that happens. And they're almost never intentional. Nitroff took a damage abuse at the end of that bonus because at this point the masks aren't really vital until you go to Future Frenzy, and they will be replenished by that point.
I honestly would like to keep a mask for Tell No Tales, just because there is a chance one of the seagulls is going to be on a bad cycle.
Yeah.
But I can just wait. It's not a problem. It definitely saves more time to use that mask on that TNT.
Because your alternative is waiting 3 seconds for it to blow up and then body slamming the body slam crate, and it's a lot of time lost compared to just damage abusing. Yep. So welcome to Tell No Tales, or as I like to call it, 3.5 minutes of fun. This is, in my opinion and the opinion of many, the most boring level in the run. It's really long and there is nothing going on.
Maybe it would be a good time to tell everybody how you got into speedrunning. Nitro, you want to go first?
Hang on, there's an important thing I need to do here.
Yes, sir.
Bum, bum.
That's very important.
Very important, yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay. I don't know if Duke was here, but he's always really excited when I do it. Right. How did I get into speedrunning? I started speedrunning in 2012.
Ooh, long time.
If you do the math, that's 10 years ago now.
That is.
Approaching 10 years ago. In fact, if I think about the exact timeline, yeah, my first contact with speedrunning was probably exactly 10 years ago.
Wow. Well, happy speedrun anniversary.
Thank you. My first contact with speedrunning was also not with any of the Sprash games. I was basically playing Wind Waker at the time, and decided why not just try speedrun the game I'm currently playing. I did a few runs of Master Sword in Wind Waker. To give you an idea, this is when dry storage was just found and the new Super Swim stuff was huge. So I have a little bit of experience with that, but if you ask me like any information about it nowadays, I wouldn't be able to give you any details. But only a few months later, not even months, probably weeks, I found some Spyro streams. I probably jumped into SSBM Stuff's stream first, and Toto Zigham's stream not too long after. At the time, the big people there were those two, Buchyism and Spudley Men, I guess. Most of them are still around today, which is really cool.
Yeah, Buchy's still around.
Yeah, I've seen, I think, in the chat today.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I got into speedrunning Spyro and basically stuck with Spyro for a long time. Got 117 record in 2013, and that's basically it. Transitioned to Jak 2 eventually around 2014, and just recently, basically at the same time as the pandemic hit, I was able to stream more again and started speedrunning Spyro again. And last year, I got the idea that why not try and go for the Crash Victor? And August last year was my first contact with Crash 3, and I fell in love with it.
Oh, nice.
Got in the span of 2 months, I climbed to the top 10 of the leaderboard, which is still something I'm amazed to this day.
Yeah.
I haven't beaten that PB yet, but
Yeah, like Crash 3 is a game that pretty easy to get into, but very hard to master. 105 especially. There's so much going on in this category. So to climb to that high of a level in a really short time is nothing short of amazing. Also, this is Bye Bye Blimps. Again, I feel like there's not too much going on in this level. It's a pretty straightforward route.
Well, then in
the
that
only
case,
thing worth mentioning here is the boxes that you break with the balloon don't break immediately. They only break when they hit a certain plane down below. And turns out that the last box we break, we're right by the next blimp. So there is a non-zero chance that I will not be able to do this quickly. But usually, yeah, you try to aim for the box directly, which means instead of having to wait for the box to fall, you can directly turn and hit the blimp the last few hits.
Thankfully, much shorter level than Tell No Tales.
Someone asked, how did I start TAS? That was also in 2013. 117 was my love category at the time, and I decided, I want to TAS it. And so I started TASing it. And the rest is history.
And the relic for Bye Bye Blimps is pretty much just an any % pass of the level. There's actually no time crates in the plane levels during time trials.
The strategy we use is instead of trying to go as directly as possible to the blimps, we're actually lining up our cells vertically as precisely as we can from afar, so that we can just use the horizontalness of being neutral to line up the shots. I wasn't perfect on all of those, and the last one was probably the worst of them. But a 38 is decent. I think I usually go for 34. And now all I need before the next big thing is one more relic. I have a choice between Tell No Tales relic or Sphinxinator relic. I'm going to go for Sphinxinator relic first and only go for Tell No Tales if I can't exit with 2 masks here. Because I will really want 2 masks for Future Frenzy. Can you explain a bit what's up with Future Frenzy?
Yeah, so you might be wondering, okay, why does he need a relic for Future Frenzy? Level 19 is right there. Future Frenzy is a level that has a secret entrance, and you can only access it by the level 29 button in Warp Room 6, and that button is accessed with 20 relics. So what the devs intend is that on the first visit of Future Frenzy, you would get just the crystal, and then you would come back later in the game after you've gotten relics with the running shoes to finish Future Frenzy properly. But because we've been collecting relics throughout the entire run, it is more than possible to just enter Future Frenzy for the first time from Warp Room 6. So the moment Nitroff gets the 20th relic, he is just going to go down there immediately. And then the convenient thing is that when he finishes the level, it will spin him back out in Warp 4, so he doesn't have to leave manually through Warp 6. That was a very nice cycle in this jump path.
Indeed.
So fun fact with these 1 cycles, a lot of them are definitely pretty tight, but Sphinxinator and Tomb Waiters in particular, even if you are just starting out, they are leading enough that you can definitely go for them as a beginner. Sphinxinator, I think in real time, it's actually faster to do the 1 cycle than to do the level normally.
I wouldn't be surprised. The blue platform doesn't take too long to get there, and then the oil section after is just blazing through it.
Yeah, I think it's something White Paws told me a few months ago. So So he went down to Warp 6. Warp 6 unlocks the moment you get 5 relics. Nitroff has 20 at this point. And every button in this warp room unlocks for every 5 relics. So Future Frenzy's alternate entrance is the 4th button, so you get it with 20 relics. He will be coming back here at the end of the run to clean out the remaining levels in Warp 6 when he has 25 or more relics. That aside, Future Frenzy is probably one of the hardest levels in the run, if not the hardest.
It's also the level I practiced the most earlier.
Yeah, this is definitely a really, really rough one. I feel like I'm not even really good at this level yet.
Because instead of spitting you at a convenient location after this whole secret entrance thing, they spit you right in the middle of the level.
Yeah. If this
So
looks
now
like
you gotta
it's like if this looks like a particularly cruel way to 100% this level, this is how they intended you to do it. You enter from the secret entrance, it spits you out in the middle of the side-scrolling section. You have to backtrack to the beginning of the level and then do that part backwards. It is piston it away and Crash 2 levels of evil. And then
That's a really good cycle.
Yeah. On top of that, you have all of these lasers. So in a speedrun setting, it's very terrifying. That was an unfortunate mask damage. So unfortunately, Nitroff will not be able to get the triple here, which is quite common with Future Frenzy, to be honest. I think I'm more impressed when I do get the triple here.
That was unfortunate. But I did leave a mask behind, so it's going to be actually quite safe to do the rest.
I see someone in chat asking if modders have ported the NST exclusive level to OG Crash 3. Speaking on future tense, if I'm not mistaken, I don't follow the Crash modding scene too closely. But Future Tense was at a complex enough level that for the longest time it was not possible to port over, and I think only recently they developed it enough where it's like technically feasible, so I don't know if we'll see a Future Tense port anytime soon. It would be awesome if it happened though, because that is one of my favorite levels in the entire series. It would be cool to play it on the PS1 engine.
I love that bonus when it goes right.
Yeah, I was paying attention because this was one of the things you wanted to teach me at SGDQ, but we didn't have time for, so now I have learned.
That guy was not on a great cycle. This Nitro can mess you up. If it decides to bounce as you're trying to break the boxes above it, well, too bad. You take damage.
Yeah, Nitro bouncing is relatively uncommon, especially in Crash 3, but it can definitely trip you up if it just bounces at the wrong time.
I think that was as good as it could have gone.
Yeah. The mass damages at the beginning were unfortunate, but that's just how Future Frenzy is sometimes.
And now for the 4th boss, Engine. The only boss you fight is Coco.
Which makes it the best boss in the series. That aside, this is actually probably one of the best boss fights in the series. Yeah. It's just playing as Coco as a bonus.
Right shoulder. I might take damage here. Oh, that was good.
Nice.
Right shoulder again.
Yeah, if you
shoulder. Oh wow, that was
beautiful.
Really good.
Yeah, if you line up your shots, these phases can go by really quickly, and you can avoid getting hit at all.
Okay, that's taking a while. I'm gonna go directly down the bottom here, breaking that. This should open soon.
Yeah, the order in which Nitroff is destroying these non-shoulders is very specific, and then at this point, it's just a matter of getting the shoulders taken out as quickly as possible.
And the last one is going to take a little while to break. Okay, that was actually a really good fight.
That was fantastic.
Ended with 100 health. That never happened.
Yeah. And with how fast that was, like you're leaving before the drop in the song even happens, which is how you know it was fast. Yeah, that is a boss fight where like it doesn't seem like a lot's going on, but you like a good engine and a fast engine and a slow engine is like the difference between being a top player or not in a lot of ways.
All right, 2 more levels to go here before I move on to Warp 5.
Yep, 3.5 more minutes. Yep, 3.5 more minutes of fun.
I actually do a manipulation in basically the first guy that spins an anchor, but I have been failing it a lot recently, so I'm going to take it slow and just wait on the cycle instead. In order to make up for that time, if that seagull moves out of the way, I'm going to grab that, and we're good.
Otherwise, once again, there's not really too much going on in this level.
I'm just going to go to the right. There you go.
Okay, Rico, it's story time. Now we have to
right.
know what got you into speedrunning.
All right. So, funnily enough, in my experience, I'm actually older than a lot of people in like the Crash speedrunning community who have been veterans for much longer than I have, because I'm 28 years old, but I didn't start speedrunning until early 2015, and I didn't start actively doing it and being involved in the community until 2016. So Crash, like the Crash series, I just grew up with as a child. This is basically like a huge portion of my childhood. Crash 2 especially is my favorite of the 3, casually. And I had this thing where every year during the summer or at some point I would just 100% the game because I just found it that much fun. One year, so 2015, I finished the game in like half a day, which was by far the fastest I'd ever done it. And I thought to myself, this is getting too easy. I'm not getting anything out of this anymore. What could I do to make this more challenging? So I went to YouTube and I looked up Crash Bandicoot 2 speedrun. And I found the record at the time, which was 1 hour and 29 minutes by Mr. Bean 35,000 VR, who people might know more these days as like a big figurehead in the Mario Kart Wii scene. I watched that run and I said to myself, wow, I'm terrible at this game. And I sat on that for a little bit. I looked up the run again, and the next time I looked it up, he had gotten 1 hour and 20 minutes, and that is still one of the best runs you could watch to learn the basics of Crash 2, even though it's a very outdated run at this point. I watched that and decided I want to do that, and that's basically how it started for me.
Right on.
Yeah. And from that point, I just branched out from doing just Crash 2 to, at this point, doing basically every platformer in the series, which like my 2 big focuses are Crash 3 and Crash Twinsanity. But I do really just dabble in the entire series at this point.
Nice.
That death was intentional, by the way. It resets the cycle, which makes things a lot easier for me. I don't know if any other runner actually goes for that death, but
I've messed with it a little bit. I think my movement's not clean enough for it to not be super tight for me yet, but it definitely does make things very convenient. Fair. This is a level where being able to know where all the cycles are is very useful.
And Mask makes the rest of this trivial as long as I don't get a dropped jump, which, of course, this game being Crash 3, can happen at any time. That was scary.
We love Crash 3 and all of its nonsense. It's funny because I did mention at the beginning of the run, I used to hate this game as a speed run. It annoyed me so much. I would get so furious at it. I'd be like, man, this game's terrible. I never want to be good at this game. And then like about a month after I did Crash 2 for Time Capsule, I got sick with COVID, and then when I came back after a week, I was like, I don't know what I want to play. I'm just going to play Crash 3, and then I fell in love with it. It's something about it just clicked at that point.
Aw, yeah.
This is a run where like I've said this a bit. Crash 2 is a fantastic run. I don't want anybody to assume that I think it's bad, but it's definitely one of those runs where if you've seen it, you can see how it gets really annoying the better you get at it. It's just such a frustrating run to do fast. Crash 3, I feel, is a run that gets better the better you get at it. It's really, really annoying when you first get into it, but once you have that moment where it clicks, it's just beautiful.
All right, the only thing I don't want here in this level is dying. If I die, I have to exit and re-enter because there's a death route coming up.
Yep. This is the
right after this climb.
This is the only level in the entire run that has a death route that we don't one cycle, because I don't know if it's not possible, but it's very much not worth it.
It's mostly that, yeah, with the bazooka, we can just hit that box up there.
The bazooka we got from Engine. It's a really cool power up. It doesn't have too much application in the run because it takes time to pull out, but definitely comes up here and there.
If everything goes right, this is the only time you see the bazooka. Yeah. No, there's also a time in, what's it called?
Gone Tomorrow?
Yeah. I always think future tense, but that's the NST level.
Yeah. It does come up in that too.
So yeah, with that shot at the box earlier, the only boxes we have to backtrack for after the death route are those. Good cycle on those guys. And I actually have a mask for this bonus, which doesn't happen all the time. I'm going to be trying to go for 2 nitro bounces. I'm most likely going to fail the first one, which means I didn't fail the first one. All right, second.
Very
Sick.
nice. That first one is like pretty annoying, actually.
So now I can just take damage on those instead of using the bazooka. And I guess those boxes are also one other places where you use the bazooka. So don't trust me when I say anything. That's the moral of the story. That was a really clean level.
I see a regular in my chat, Frosty, talking about how long COVID symptoms equal starting to like Crash 3, in reference to my story of how I started liking this game after having COVID. A mod in my chat, Atomical Sloss, who's a fantastic Crash Twin Sanity runner. One of the symptoms I didn't get when I had COVID was the loss of taste. So he joked, he said, Rico claims he didn't lose his taste with COVID, but he started running Crash 3. So, yeah. Maybe it is a long-term symptom.
By the way, another cycle reset.
Yeah.
At the start of this year. I actually also don't know if others go for this one, but I like this one a lot because it makes it so I really don't have to think about this next section, this climb, too much. I just bounce on that TNT. That guy is never swinging a sword by then, so I can just walk by, no problem.
Yeah, this one I haven't messed with quite as much as Future Frenzy, but it was another one where like I can see how it's so nice. I just haven't gotten the movement to make it consistent yet.
And this, what's the platinum time here? Like a 55?
I don't even know. That sounds about right. I know the gold is like 113 or something.
This relic is absolutely free.
Yeah, it's
best level in the game, by the way.
Yeah. That's something Nitroff and I both agree this is like our favorite level. I don't know what it is. It's just the platforming is just really crisp when done well. I just think it's a really well designed level and it's very fun to go through quickly.
Okay. Now I really don't want to take damage early because there's an invincibility for me right here. Here. Okay, that broke.
So Gone Tomorrow has a fair bit of backtracking as well. It's not quite as cruel as Future Frenzy is about it, but you'll notice that Nitroff is going to skip some crates here because he is going to be coming back later. That was a really sweet Death Tornado spin, by the way.
If you're wondering why I spun outwards, there was that exclamation mark box out there that you can hit with the invincibility as you walk by, which removes the need for one. I'm actually, wow, okay, this is a really good cycle. Killing those guys early is so nice. Wow.
Yeah, it looks really good.
The way is clear. All 3 of them are gone. I don't care about losing that mask.
Yeah, so Nitroff's going to come back through this entire portion because of where this gem path is going to spin him out.
I do care about losing this one.
Also,
this should be able to pass through here easy.
Also, this green gem path is the reason Nitroff did Flaming Passion first because he got the green gem in it.
I'm waiting. That was a bit slow. Did that hit that?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I really hope it did, because
It did not.
No, it did not. Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
I had that happen to me a few weeks ago. It's pretty unfortunate. So that jump path is so cool that we're going to do it again. But yeah, as you can see, when you finish the jump path, it puts you back at the very beginning of the level. So in essence, you kind of just do this level twice to get the gem. Again, it's not quite as cruel as Future Frenzy's backtracking, but it's still a fair bit of backtracking.
I knew that was a bad idea. All right, let me recenter myself here, and we're going to get through this no problem this time.
Gone Tomorrow is another one of those levels that can snowball quite easily if it goes wrong. Any time or any death here is pretty bad at any point, so. I don't know if I agree with that.
I know I don't. No worries, we are still underestimate, like, easily.
Yeah.
And that was entirely my fault. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of note, it's resetlists of this game can go one of two ways. It can be completely beautiful and you just destroy your estimate, or it can go like this. And that's just the nature of Crash 3. Just there are many points in the game where, like, the entire game, like, there's definitely points where things are chill and it's not really hard to go through things pretty quickly, but then you get levels like this or any of the one cycles where single mistakes can cost like upwards of a minute, and that can definitely add up over time. So despite the fact that Nitros PB is a 207, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, having a 220 estimate is completely reasonable. Likewise, you know, my PB is a 210. I always put.
I did not kill that guy on the way there. That's annoying. I usually kill that guy on the way there, which means he's not a problem on the way back.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
5 times the charm.
Is that only 5? Feels like 10.
I don't know. I think it was 5. I was pulling the number out. Guys, look, this green jump path is so pretty because it is shaded green. I just really want to keep looking at it.
Okay, now I'm going to be careful because there's a guy back there that, yeah, I'm just going to be double jumping out, so I'm sure to go above him.
Yeah. That is,
Why did I not kill the guy on the way there? That's part of the route. That's part of the things, the checklist on the way with the mask.
Gone Tomorrow woke up and chose violence, it seems. Are we gonna get a death counter going like Zem's Angela fight at SGDQ? 14.
Here we go. He's gonna be on the left. I'm just, yeah. Screw him. I'm ignoring him.
Sometimes you gotta know when to walk away from a fight. Yeah, so the UFO guys, the orange part is supposed to kill you, but sometimes...
And checkpoint. All right, we're safe. We're not going to do that again unless I mix a box.
There's
a box.
Yeah, there's a very good reason you skip that first checkpoint. It's for when stuff like that happens. If you were to just get that checkpoint early and then die at any point in the level, you would lose so much time if you died. Yeah, not going for nitro bounces here is very reasonable.
That nitro went for a nitro bounce.
Like I said, Gone Tomorrow woke up and chose violence.
I'm going for it this time.
Congrats.
Nice double jump. Oh, and this time there was too much lag and the jump didn't come out. That never happened before.
Hey, we got that. We got one of those moments.
That was entirely my fault. You always want to hold X when you do some TNT spin bounces. We're gonna get through.
We could have
nice
some other
one,
speedrun stories going on at this rate.
I mean, anything you want to weigh in on, go for it.
Have y'all ever seen the speedrun for Crash Twin Sanity? It's pretty awesome.
I don't think I have.
All right. There's still a few things that could trip me up before the end here. Like this guy was in the worst cycle possible. 81 out of 87 is the correct count. There's only $6 remaining before the end of the level. Depending on which kind of... Okay, that's a bad door cycle. I'm just gonna try and do that. And here I'm gonna try and go around that guy. Okay, we're out.
Woo, we made it.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat that was a particularly bad Gone Tomorrow. But I think that was a pretty good snapshot of just how much time you can lose for single mistakes in that level. It's really brutal, especially for the end of the run.
Yeah, all these features.
And guess what? We're going right back in.
But yeah, if,
We're going right back in for the time trial.
This time trial is really cool though because it has 2 invincibilities in it.
Going around those guys. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm just gonna try and do it anyway. I'm losing one of the invincibilities, which means I'll most likely lose both, considering how this level usually goes. I would love to keep 2 masks for bug light, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So one of them is here. Decent cycle on this guy, which means fine cycle on that guy. I'm just gonna double jump above that guy. Okay, good.
The upside of not getting the triples that we get to hear this song.
And second invincibility, a very short one.
But a welcome one nonetheless.
Definitely. I would hate to have to go around that guy at the end of the time trial.
It's so bad. That can be an annoyingly tight relic if you don't get either of the triples.
Now for bug light, the last platforming level in the run, but there's still like another 20 minutes to go after that.
Yeah, there's a good 5 vehicles after this. So this level also has a 1 cycle, and next to Tomb Time, I would say it is the second hardest. But I'm sure Nitroff is more than capable of getting it.
I actually had the TNT there. Okay. Yeah, I've been pretty consistent at this bug light 1 cycle, so
I actually just learned.
Hopefully it'll be first try.
I actually just learned this 1 cycle myself, courtesy of Nitroff.
There's just so many intricacies in the movement in this game that you don't necessarily pick up on by just watching someone move.
For sure. That is also
Good? Go ahead.
Okay. That's something I also see a lot of new runners or people who only watch is that they try the neutral slide jump and they're like, wow, this is like really boring. It's really slow. It's not as cool as neutral slide spin in Crash 2. But there's so much nuance to the movement, so many little things going on that it's something you really gain an appreciation for the better you get at it. Like, and just the moment that movement clicks, the run becomes really great. There's also like even times where like neutral slide jumping isn't the optimal movement. Like you've probably seen it several points throughout this run. Nitroff is just doing like regular zigzag slide spins because there's definitely times where that's just the better choice over going for a neutral slide jump.
I should take a hit. Okay. That hit probably kept the door open. I'm not 100% familiar with the cycles here, but it really felt like I needed to take a hit in order to keep the door open.
Yeah, you didn't need the mask at that point, so like there's no reason not to.
Also nice orb.
Yeah, it's like nice portal not existing. I don't think I've ever seen that.
And Bug Light 1 cycle coming up.
Yep. This one cycle is very, very cycle heavy for the first, I want to say 60% of it.
Yeah, we just have to restart the time trial here. Otherwise, there would be no way to tell if it's even possible. We are lucky to begin with that it's possible from a restart trial cycle.
Yeah, otherwise, I just really don't think this would be feasible. Yeah, so the movement Nitroff is doing through all this is very, very specific.
So far, so good.
That's
Easy.
really clean. That's better than anything I've ever gotten for hitting the platform. Yeah. So this is a multicolored gem path. Crash 2 and 3 both have a thing in level 25 where there's a gem path that requires all 5 colored gems. And this is a Crash 3 version. So now that Nitroff has crossed that door, as long as he takes the damage here and then crosses this door, he should be good for the rest of the one cycle. At this point, it becomes pretty lenient, but that first like 40 seconds of the pass is very tight. If you fail any of those doors or if you take a hit in the wrong spot, you can basically just like kiss it goodbye. Got a bit of a stutter there, but it looks like it's still gonna be fine. Yeah, you should be good.
This is not the cycle I'm used to up here, but if I do the manip properly here.
This part is really annoying because these spike mummies have the most obnoxious hitboxes in the entire game. It's very easy to just straightly get hit by them. Yeah, at this point, you're just good to go. This last path just has the gem, so you grab it and then just leave the level.
Easy.
Very nice.
Target time is a 1:34 something, so.
Yeah, so you can see how tight that is. He got it with a 2-second window.
I'm glad I got that one.
I see Deo Man in the chat saying that he saw me grinding this like crazy at SGDQ. It is true. I had to spend at least like 6 hours total just playing this level specifically for the week.
Yeah, to circle back on what you said earlier, and what I said about the movement intricacy, the only reason that I'm currently capable of doing that is I had someone in my chat regularly coming in and, I could ask questions, bounce like, are you doing this thing in your PB? I was basically having Burgerlands too in my chat, and okay, missed a box, that's fine. It just means we won't have to go for the boxes on this visit.
Yeah, Orange Asphalt is the one motorcycle level where the one cycle is optional, essentially. I mean, I guess it's technically optional for Hog Ride or Road Crash, but from like a speed perspective, you can get the gem on either pass, and it doesn't really make a difference.
So yeah, I had Burgerlands just coach me through Twitch chat a few times, and that helped me a lot. Just figure out what I'm doing wrong, what I need to improve in order to get those one cycles that I struggle so much to get. And I just pass that on to Rico at SGDQ, who was trying to do bug light, and within a couple hours he already started being consistent at it to a point he started considering doing it in runs as well.
Yeah, I got it first try in a run I did a few days ago. And just brought my sum of best down by an entire minute. That's how much time it saves. It's one of those one cycles where the movement, it and Tomb Time are the two one cycles that I would say are genuinely impossible if you don't zigzag NSJ. And I only recently started doing zigzag NSJ because before a few months ago, I didn't have a controller where I could do it comfortably. And just honestly, like, I dabbled in it a little bit and was kind of getting close, but being at SGDQ and having Nitroff literally sitting right next to me telling me what I could do differently was a huge help. And now I feel pretty consistent at it. It's definitely one of those one cycles that helps to have like a second pair of eyes looking at to see what you can do better.
Casually skipping over holes, by the way.
Yeah, but there's a lot of hole skips in Orange Asphalt that made the level go by much quicker.
Okay, so I didn't get the box gem on the first visit. I'm just gonna go for it again. And if I miss a box, now I have the option to restart trial, which obviously is a huge time loss, but at least I don't have to get back to the warp room for every box I miss. Shouldn't happen. I'm fairly consistent at this. Okay. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
We've got plenty of time to spare.
Yeah, Orange Asphalt is so much more lenient in terms of time trial than every other bike level. Any of the other three, you make like one big mistake and it's basically over. Orange Asphalt, you can go off the road and out of bounds, or you can like crash into a cop car and you still got plenty of time to work with.
This is definitely not my ideal Orange Asphalt, but honestly, I'll take it.
It was very important that it was very important Nitroff dropped his turbo right before those ramps. Otherwise, you will overshoot and go right over those two crates.
I would have liked to keep that turbo past that guy to get another hole skip and get the box behind that jump without losing turbo, but fortunately I mishandled the setup and had to take it slow. But we got the one cycle, so we got everything we need.
Yep, very nice. I've had discussions with another Crash runner, Tet, about whether or not this level was supposed to be earlier in the game and Road Crash was supposed to be later, because really, even casually, this is a much easier level than Road Crash, and it would make more sense in that like the progression of time of day through the motorcycle levels would make more sense if Orange Asphalt was the second one, because you would go from like midday to like evening to night to like midnight.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So this is Mad Bombers. Casually, I think most people loathe this level. I know I do. Routing it for the speedrun though, I think is really cool. The cycle that Nitroff is going for is a very specific one that makes the level go by really quickly, but is a bit risky because you break all of the health crates very early on. Also a bit of a fun trivia. I mentioned earlier, I think in High Time, that my favorite song in the game is one that everybody else hates. It would be this one. I'm like one of the only people I know who loves this song.
Yeah, I think you might be Rico.
I'm a sucker for marching snares, so any type of really good percussion gets me.
That was a good kill. I'm gonna get, yeah. Too good of a kill. I wasn't wide enough to avoid that. But this is fine because I'm just going in the right direction already for the rest of this. Yeah. Ideally, I'd kill that guy before I get to turn around, but I didn't manage to get a few hits in for it before we got to this point. So most likely going to have to turn left a lot before he dies. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a level where even being like slightly off can mess up all the cycles and lose you a lot of time, and it doesn't help that sometimes the hits onto the plane's propellers do not really register. So it's very easy to lose a lot of time in this level.
Also, slight complaint about, controls. In every other vehicle, X is accelerate. Why is it brake for the plane?
They actually fixed that in the Insane Trilogy. In the Insane Trilogy, X is spin and square is brake, whereas in the original, it's the other way around.
Okay, we have to enter Cortex here, but we don't have to fight him. We only have to fight him once we get everything. So we exit right out. And now we'll re-enter 24, get the last relic we need in Warp 5, and then we're going to be doing the Warp 6 cleanup.
Yeah, Nitrov had to do that just to bring the level buttons back. Yeah, we don't fight Cortex until the very end of the run because all you get out of fighting him early is the running shoes, and they're basically useless. The running shoes movement compared to neutral slide jumping is only faster if you have absolutely ridiculous zigzag, to the point that like there is a new game plus category where you use a glitch to start with all 5 power-ups, and even the world record doesn't do that movement. It's just not worth it. So
it's so tiresome.
Yeah, it's like people have a misconception with Crash 1 that the movement in that game is constant zigzagging, which isn't actually the case. Zigzagging with the running shoes would be if that was actually the movement in Crash 1, and it was very tiresome. Very much not worth it. Another thing of note is that if you beat Cortex, you have to sit and watch like the 3-minute credits, which there is a credit skip, but it's so ridiculously imprecise that like even if you did want the running shoes, it probably wouldn't be worth going for.
Okay, so I'm a little low on health here. I'm gonna try and just get that guy out of my way. Okay, should be good. And relic 115 is nothing to complain about.
Yeah, it's a really good relic. Anything sub 120 is a good trial time here, I would say.
So 3 more levels, hopefully only 3 more visits, because everything from now on can be one-cycled. I'm going to start with Rings of Power, which is different than what I do RTA, but that's just because I didn't think about the warp room movement. And from that one RTA, I'm going to start with Rings of Power.
Yeah, it's technically fastest to open with Rings of Power just because of where you get spit out when you leave a level in this warp room. So this is like actually one of my favorite levels in the run. I think it's the coolest vehicle level because it's a plane racing level, and it just goes by so quickly.
Leaving that box behind is on purpose, by the way. Do not worry, we're going to be passing right by there again, perpendicularly to what we've just done.
Yeah, the rings loop. So, or you go through it.
They make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make it to you.
Yeah. Right there. That was the box.
Yep. Also, the mountains look like cookie dough, so that just makes the level even better.
And here I purposely stop shooting and spin that with the plane so I get the gem right away instead of having to wait for the nitro to fall. Which, by the way, it's possible to just finish the race before the nitro is done falling, which means you don't get the gem.
Yeah, no, this is the level that is unlocked for having 25 relics, which is why it's done so late in the run.
It's really the only reason why we have to come back after Future Frenzy. We can't have 25 relics before Future Frenzy.
Yeah, some people do more levels in Warp 6 early and just save just Rings of Power for the end, specifically because of this level. But it is optimal to do all of Warp 6 at the end. But yeah, this is Ski Crazed. Anybody who has watched me run this game knows how much I despise this level.
It's a fun level when it goes right, but it never goes right.
That's the key word, when it goes right. This is the level where the waves causing the ramps to move erratically is your worst nightmare. because it is so easy to overshoot a jump and miss a crate. And this one cycle is so tight. If you make like 2 big mistakes, it's over. So it is very easy to just lose a lot of time. Also, it's a really long level.
See that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I see that bomb?
Yeah.
Death cycle is the worst thing ever, by the way. You have to slow down for this. It just never lines up that you can actually hit both boxes if you just go as fast as possible from the death cycle.
The death cycle is what I use because it's consistent. I just restart trial immediately here because I'm so tired of trying to improv this level.
I figured I have to improv every time anyway, so.
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird. The worst thing is that for how brutal it is to fail this one cycle, this is like a 3-minute level. So failing the one cycle is really bad, and it's like it doesn't really matter what pace you're on. This level decides runs, which is why it's completely understandable that people even at like the highest level will do it in Warp 4 as opposed to at the very end of the run. I actually considered moving it to Warp 4 just to get it out of the way, but decided that I would get more runs done if I just did it at the end, because failing this one cycle is so demotivating.
This is the prime example of what can go wrong here.
Yeah.
I basically can only make one more mistake like that, otherwise I lose everything.
That ramp that he just went over with the 3 bombs is like my least favorite ramp. I feel like sometimes even when I slow down, it doesn't work.
Okay, good bombs here. And then there's a unfortunate box formation right here. And if I don't, yeah.
That's
I have to say something.
Yeah, that's definitely a rough one.
Okay.
I think as long as you don't make anything else, you're still fine. Or you don't make any other mistakes, you should still be okay.
The target time is a 50.50, so.
Yeah, and it looks like he has no time, but the time crates are so numerous and so powerful. Like there's so many 3s and 2s and the tail end of this level that like this, if he makes no more mistakes, this timer might just be frozen until he leaves the level.
Air backflip, good.
Nice. Yeah, you have to go for a backflip there to get the 4th crate. It gives you a bit more distance. You should be good from this point, I feel.
Yep. Box, gem, or yeah, the timer didn't move from the moment I mentioned the 50-50.
I consider any ski craze one cycle that is successful a good ski craze. I don't care how much time I lose. If I didn't fail it, it was good.
And now the final level. This one I could get tripped up again, but as long as I focus, it really shouldn't be a problem. This is Area 51. It's the last motorcycle level, and it's in the dark. You're racing UFOs.
Right on.
What a
let's do
concept.
this.
Yeah, this level is so let it be known that Crash rated Area 51 before it was cool.
So there is 24 crates I have to get. You basically just have to remember where they are along the track.
This is honestly one. Go ahead.
Especially considering, like, if you go as fast as you can, you will get ahead of the last UFO. So there won't even be a chance for the UFOs in front of you to light up the crates for you to react.
Yeah, this is honestly a really cool level to see done fast. It's like, it's a hard level, but it's honestly one of my favorite in the run. I know many times I see people be like, oh, I hate Area 51. It's such a terrible level. And like, I get it, but it's so cool to learn. And I think it's a fantastic level to end the run on.
Here. Okay,
Yeah,
check the box
good.
count there as all the time. You need to have 8.
It's
And here, just slow down behind that guy. There is no reason for you to try and get ahead of him.
yeah, the next ramp should be 13. Knowing your crate counts is very useful in this level.
Okay, that was an unfortunate thing. I
think you should still be fine.
This is very slow, but I'm going to try and go for the whole skip here. And that should save it.
Nice.
I'm gonna drop it.
You're scaring
That
me,
was
man.
not as yeah.
I think you should still be fine though. Like,
Yeah.
you're pretty close to the second place UFO, so yeah.
I won't have the time.
I still believe.
What's the target time again?
149.
Oh, it's that high. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I usually get 138s when I do the whole skip.
Yeah,
We're
I've
fine.
gotten like I've gotten like
Alright.
147s here, and it's been fine. You're good.
All right.
Ooh, what a rush.
Yeah, that Area 51 is like, if you take your time, it's really tight, and like playing it safe does definitely make it a very tight one cycle. But if you go for risky stuff like Nitroff did, you actually have quite a bit of time to work with.
All right. So now we see no more buttons appear around the portal, which is a good sign that I got all the gems.
Yep, this is a sign that you have triggered the true final boss fight, which means the only button that will appear is Cortex's. So if
And
not,
the last thing we're looking for, the 105th percent, is going to be Coco right here, giving me the last gem. And just for good measure,
Yep.
104%, we're going to get the 105th after defeating Cortex. All good.
yep,
Right
this
on,
is
let's
everything.
do this.
Speaking of bangers,
Pretty cool boss fight.
yeah, this is definitely probably the coolest of the Cortex box fights out of the trilogy. It's a major step up from Crash 2's.
Unfortunate mines formation here. I couldn't really get Cortex out of that without triggering a mine.
You should definitely turn the sound effects back on after grabbing the shoes. That way we can hear the audio in the ending cutscene.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
I also see someone in chat talking about the final gem. Yep, so the last gem is received for having 30 gold relics, and Coco just gives it to you.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Thankfully, all of these cycles, like what Aku Aku and Uka Uka do, is really consistent. You only have to really worry about where Cortex places the mines.
We don't usually do that in the run, but
Oh, I was gonna say
There it
do it after you get the. Hey, sound effects.
time.
Ooh, we made it.
GG.
Nice job.
Yeah, even with all the mistakes, it was still very cleanly within the estimate. I love this ending cutscene.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. This is usually like quiet in the run. We just have the music like boosted to the max level. And
Just like quiet screaming.
Yeah, sometimes when I get a PB, I turn the SFX back on just because like I'm just in such a good mood that I just want to hear this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, 116.40 approximately.
216.40.
The time.
Yeah, thank you. Everything's a 1 for me. 216.40, considering everything that went wrong, how much time we spent in, what was it, high time?
Gone Tomorrow.
Gone Tomorrow. Remove those 2 levels, that would have been a sub 210. I'm really happy about
Very
that.
solid for sure. This is definitely just the kind of run where it's just like 1 or 2 levels go wrong and then you're just way off of what you're aiming for. Like, it's very easy to say, oh, well, if this level had gone well, it would have been this time.
Well, I thank you so much for running Crash Warped. I have a lot of good memories with this game, and so it was super, super great to see you run it for us. But do you have any shout-outs or comments you'd like to make before we wrap it up?
Sure. I told you earlier to follow me. Also follow Rico. He's also playing this
course.
game currently and, rising as well. He's been tailing me, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to catch up pretty soon. So follow him as well and give him some love. And
Yeah. This game definitely, I think, deserves more love than it gets. It's kind of like a bit off the radar compared to Crash 2 and even a little bit compared to Crash 1. But like, there's definitely a lot of really great runners going at it right now. You got Nitroff and me. Tet W is the world record holder in Crash 1 100%. Recently got top 3 in this category. So I definitely recommend checking him out. Kieran is another runner who's been going pretty hard at this category. Yeah, I mean, Crash 3 is a great run and it definitely deserves some more recognition.
Well, I'll say it again, but if those of you watching did enjoy the run, please make sure you follow Nitrovsky here on Twitch, as well as Rico. That's Rico_KSB. I'll post the links in the chat one more time. And if you're watching on YouTube from the future, make sure to go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in seeing our shows live. We start weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you didn't know, Games Done Quick Highlights is a channel on YouTube that features highlights of all of our GDQ Hotfix shows. You can use the !highlights command in Twitch chat to learn more about our highlights. But that is going to wrap it up for tonight's episode of Time Capsule.
Can I actually shout something else out really quickly?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so if you really like Crash or Spyro speedruns, or even like, I don't know, maybe Mario or Donkey Kong 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, there's a really cool event going on this weekend called the 1545. It is a weekend-long, like 48-hour relay race where 8 teams are going to be racing 13 games, which is the entire Sprashfecta, the Super Mario 602, which is 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, and Galaxy 2, and the Rareware Trifecta, which is Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie. Nitroff and I are both in it. We're both doing Crash 3. Nitroff is also doing Spyro 3. I'm also doing Crash 2. And there's a bunch of other really fantastic runners who are participating in it. So if you want to watch that, I would say go to, I believe the Twitch is just MCSN, which is short for Multi-Community Speed Network. Let me double check that. Let me double check that to make sure.
It should be twitch.tv/MCSN, Multi-Community Speed Running Network, probably.
And that's,
it's a thing.
This weekend?
Yeah, it is this weekend starting Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It is a wonderful yearly event. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll be sure to do that. But I guess that's going to be actually a wrap for Time Capsule tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been your host, Smooth Operative. And of course, Nitroff Rico, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the show, come back and see us. We're live every other Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to say goodbye for now. So goodbye.
Yep.
Bye-bye.